Alright, I'm back. Bit of a slow stream week this time. Sorry for missing yesterday's uh oh god, I still cannot really pronounce the name. Tatari Tatarigoroshi stream. Sadly there was a lot going on. And I thought we could probably finish it this weekend. Seems like probably not. Also, I had to resist really hard not to play more Deltarune today. Really hard. Oh, let's just continue. I'll do a quick recap. In the first third, it was slice of life stuff focusing on Satoko, where we are kind of being her substitute brother, more like the first four. Then her evil uncle came back and is forcing her to be at home and do chores all day. It doesn't sound as bad as it is, but it is. He's a former gangster, alcoholic, making her skip school, making her serve him while other drunks are around, and so on. We are not taking it well, but we also decided that we can't do much here. Apparently, they tried calling CPS last year and didn't work well. Asked things to get worse. That's about where we left off. Nothing really in terms of, how do I say this, the mystery for this chapter, if I'm honest. Or the mystery, like, all around. We'll probably get more on what happened exactly to Satoko's family, but other than that, maybe we'll get more on Satoshi too. Anyway, I went home and washed the day's sweat off in a shower. Normally I could reset everything by taking a shower and forgetting all the bad things, but that didn't happen today. I got out of the shower to find fresh underwear placed neatly in the laundry basket. Normally, I didn't stop to think about it, but today I felt happy at my mother's consideration. At the same time, however, it made me realize how much Satoko must be suffering. The very moment I was appreciating the gentle kindness, Satoko might be being bruised by her uncle's cruel words. Oh yeah, and she had bruises, so probably being hit. I went up to the second floor and shut myself in my bedroom. Then, facing my desk, I folded my arms. My topic of thought was, of course, Satoko. We'd thought that if we could just get a public agency to intervene in the right way, the problem would be solved. But with what Coach said, I don't think it would be that so easy. Satoko was obstinate, and she was stubbornly denied the abuse and tried to endure it. And that was an act of atonement towards Satoshi, who protected her before and then ran away. As long as she thought that way, the situation wouldn't be so simple. But earlier, before Coach, I made a clear declaration. If I thought Satoko was in danger, then I would do what I had to. In the end, that meant I was just going to. Wait and see too. Nevertheless, I thought I'd drawn a clearer line than Coach or my friends had. If the time came, I would report it over the phone. Given Sadako's personality, she might criticize me if she found out, but I believed it was ultimately the best decision. Wait, Keiichimabara, would that really be all it took for the problem to end? Said I reported it to a public agency, like the Child Consultation Center. What if they stuck to their wait-and-see attitude like last year? Last year they decided to do just that, and the situation improved temporarily. And then the aunt, thinking herself a laughingstock, increased her tormenting in secret. In the end, things became more underhanded than ever before. This year it was her uncle. I'd just seen him for the first time today, but the man seemed much more direct, much more violent than the word underhanded could imply. He wasn't like their aunt. No, not that subtle. He was more direct. He might also assault her with punches and kicks that could easily be discerned from the bruises I saw and such I saw on Satoko's body. Shit, you're too naive, Keiichi. Our heroic it may seem to report what had happened. If it doesn't save her, then it doesn't mean anything. Reporting things to a public agency was only one option, and leaving everything to them would be dangerous. We would need something more to guarantee Satoko's safety. I scratched madly at my head, thinking, then ta- tilted it back, wanting at least a little bit of calm. The memories of angry arguing with my friends today came to mind. I was embarrassed that I hadn't realized it until Rena said something. She was right. My house is big. Compared to all the houses with the straw thatched roofs in Himizawa, it was really big. We did actually have empty rooms. I've never thought that we were affluent, but also never thought that we were poor. Just didn't admit it because people would think I was arrogant. But maybe my family really is wealthy. We had a few rooms we could lend to Satoko. The guest room are only in use when people related to my dad's job came and stay every once in a while. Plus, if we cleaned up a few of the rooms my dad used for storage, they could work for her as well. As for food expenses, that might have been a more serious problem than a kid like me could imagine. Lunch every day would be manageable. All of our friends would just have to bring a little more for lunch than they usually did. Everyone pecking at everyone else's food anyway, it would be manageable. For breakfast and dinner, though, that would have to be up to Mom. I would need to convince her to lend Satoko more than just a room. Of course, I don't think convincing her of that would be easy. But how much did it cost for one person to eat? How many tens of thousands of yen per month? They couldn't complain about it if I showed at that, could they? I only had 10 or 20,000 yen in savings, but it was something. I actually had even more thanks to New Year's gifts and such. My parents had taken all that and put it in a fixed time deposit. If I could get access to that, it should add up to a lot of money. And if I go that far, I should ask Mion and Rena to share some of the burden. Of course, I wouldn't depend on that. Rena got mad at me, didn't she? About how I shouldn't just shove responsibility onto others. I had to ask for help. Even so, I'd basically be saving her myself. I would follow through on it. Oh, but it would only be food expenses. There were a lot of things you couldn't do without, like baths and laundry. Mother was awfully methodical and strict about cutting out inefficiencies, and for once, that was troublesome. She might even make reference to the money it would cost for the detergent Tucker would use for her own clothes. I couldn't think only about food expenses. I needed more money. Hey, wait, Kichimabara, since when was this all about money? Even if you could afford it, you would need your parents' permission first. They'd be looking for after a young girl for a really long time. What would I say to persuade them? Just calm down a little bit. Kichimabara, and you'll realize right away that you can't. Even if you ask them seriously, they would tell you to call the police. Even if you manage to gain their empathy, why should the Mimbara family have to shoulder all the burden by itself? That's what would happen. That was it. It was very sad and frustrating, no matter how much I wanted to help. My resolution alone couldn't save anything. Our kids, are they really this powerless? I felt frustrated. I believed my feelings were stronger than anyone else's. I even thought they were stronger than coaches. And yet, at that point, there were two knocks at my door, and Mom poked her head inside. Were you awake? I've been calling you for dinner for a while. Oh yeah, I'm coming. So financially dependent on his parents, I shouldn't say this, but I just sat around doing nothing and food suddenly appeared. It felt so natural to me that I'd shamelessly thought of it as a responsibility of the parents who gave birth to me. But when I realized that natural thing was actually alright, I came to realize just how hard it was to grant the privilege to others. Even the boring meal in front of me, no better than it ever was, had more meaning than that tonight. There was food for free on the table right now. For Mom, for Dad, for Mom, and for me. Couldn't imagine how hard it would be to add another place at the table. Think Keiichi Mabara. If it was hard to make food for four, then just think about how four people could eat food made for free. Oh, change around the way I thought. With that began considering an unthinkably bold plan. That's right. I didn't need to get my parents' permission. She should just live here in secret. That's the most stupid thing you ever said. I got upset when I found out a while ago. If I remember right, if you climbed out the window, then shimmy down to the first floor of the gutter, you could go in and out of the house directly from my room. Satoko's physical ability far surpassed my own, so it would be even easier for her. I hadn't even thought about it, but her living here secretly was actually a necessity. I'd only have to bring Satoko to my house when the public agency said they would wait and see. In other words, if Satoko's uncle continued to be her guardian, if in such a situation word got out that she was here, her uncle would barge in and drag Satoko back with him. Her uncle was the rightful guardian, so my parents would hand her over without an argument, no doubt. So I needed to keep it secret that she was living here. If it needs to be a secret, then having my parents' help would mean a lot, but gotta deceive your allies first, like they always say. Okay. Persuading my parents was an unrealistic proposition, so I'll search for a way to have her live here secretly. When I was around, she would just have to be really quiet in my room on the second floor. The issue was the daytime. If she was hiding from her uncle, then she shouldn't go to school. It might be lonely, but not going would be the better option. It'd easily teach Satoko the stuff she learns in her grade. Actually, during school, I mostly help all the younger kids all out rather than study my own stuff. During the day, I would need to go to school, so I wouldn't be at home. My parents respected my privacy now that I was at this age, so they wouldn't go snooping around my room while I was gone. I think. If she holds herself up in my room, it would be okay, right? My parents did come. Thanks to where the second floor was, she could hear their approach from the sound of them coming up the stairs. There would be a little bit of time before they got up. I estimate a few seconds. Then she could be able to hide herself in the closet. Wait, Keiichi. Something doesn't make sense. If she can't go to school, then what'll she do for lunch? Calm down already. I could just leave her my own lunch, can I? I should just go to school without lunch and get everyone else to split theirs with me. Okay, that's good. No more contradictions or oversights, right? Oh, breakfast and dinner. I could somehow get her to go without breakfast. I can go with 2 meals a day when I sleep on Sundays, after all. Every day I'd pretend as though I had a bigger appetite and ask for bigger helping. Then I could just somehow give part of that to Satoko. As a test. Stood up from my seat with my plate of fish in my hands. What's wrong, Keiichi? Sit down and eat your food. Well, kind of not in a good mood. Could I eat up at my room? You'll make a mess. Eat dinner at the dinner table. Sorry. Hey, wait. I only tried to take away one plate of fish and they ganged up on me? In reality, it was impossible for me to smuggle food away without my parents knowing about it. But it must have been worth taking the time to think about it. There must be some trick, some method to avoid them realizing. Even if I can't think of one today, I might think of one tomorrow. My appetite was rapidly fading, so I finished early and went back to my room. Went back there and tried to think about it from Satoko's point of view. For example, let's say my parents were coming up the stairs right now. I've got to hide. Open the closet. Clatter, clatter. It didn't open quietly. Hey, wait. Didn't it always open real smooth and quiet? Why was it suddenly doing this now? Was the house even structurally safe? Was it already showing signs of dilapidation? Or were the hinges just not greased well enough? Did I just apply some lubricating wax? The sound itself may have been soft, but it left me uneasy as to whether my parents would detect it happening when they climbed the stairs. This was an easy problem. To do something about it. Just had to fix it up a bit so it didn't make noise anymore. For now, I'll close myself in a closet as though I successfully hid. Bessie always left my futon out on the floor. I couldn't think of any real reason my parents would want to go into my closet. Even so, there still might be some reason they would. Might need to construct some sort of camouflage that so that she wouldn't be noticed even if they did open it. But the more she worried about that, the less time she'd have to actually hide, meaning it would be more likely they'd hear a noise. And then I suddenly had to go to the bathroom. The bathroom? The need to use the toilet so obvious, yet such a fatal flaw. The only bathroom was on the first floor. It would be absolutely impossible for her to use it without my family realizing. I might need to set up a portable toilet, like a chamber pot, I guess. Toko would hate it. Could go in my room. But the stench, it would be pretty terrible. Anyone sensitive would probably notice the smell without even coming into the room. The bath was okay though. She could just take a bath when my parents were out. But I couldn't do anything about a toilet. When her stomach started to hurt, my parents were lazing around downstairs, she'd be in trouble. It was then that I noticed that I'd been chewing at my hand with both hands. I sat down in the dark closet with my fingers against my chest, buried my face in them, and I tore at my hair. The more I thought, the more contradictions popped up. The more I thought, the more things failed. The more I worried, the more I was reminded of how little power I actually had. My back started to hurt from staying in the cramped place for so long. But if I were to shelter Satoko, I would need to force her to feel this pain. Totally in such a dark, narrow, suffocating place forever. But it would still be better than being abused by her uncle, so I wanted to think. Got hard to breathe, so I gave in and crawled out of the closet. Looked at the clock, and to my surprise, it was 3:30 in the morning. It felt like so little time, but it was unbelievably long. I realized that I was slammed with a terrible urge to sleep, as if the time had only caught up with me. I didn't have enough strength to fight it. I fell flat on the futon. Shit, I couldn't just sleep like this. If I wasted any time, then it'll mean I'm taking the same wait-and-see attitude that Mion and Coach and everyone else did. I need to keep worrying about how to rescue Satoko for a minute, or even a second longer than anyone else. Isn't there a better way? Isn't there a better way? The one phrase I spoke to myself swirled around and spiraled and steadily took over my entire mind. For a last moment of consciousness, I thought. There were a lot of blind spots in what I considered tonight, but I absolutely wasn't wrong for me having those ideas. Tomorrow, I would suggest a bold plan to the others. Mion might be able to help somehow, and Nella was really sharp, so she might have a good suggestion. Above all, we need to rescue Satoko once again, with everyone helping out. Felt pathetic for letting myself fall asleep. I'm sorry, Satoko. Higurashi when they cry. Next morning, the ceiling blurred into view. It was hot. There was a thin layer of moist sweat on me. The voices of cicadas permeating my room were somehow grating to my head. What? Today's not Sunday, is it? Remember today was a weekday, and quickly brought myself to consciousness. Then I finally leapt out of bed. The clock read a little before 10. It was totally late. When I wandered downstairs, my mom would get mad at me. There was nothing I could do, though. Reviewing the sketch schedule for school, for a moment I suitably arranged my stuff in my bag, hurried and get dressed, then went downstairs. There was no sign of my parents anywhere. Maybe they went somewhere together? So that's how it was. My mother had probably woken me up once this morning, but then I fell back asleep without remembering it. My parents, thinking I'd gone to school, left. Something like that probably happened. Went to the front door and I suspected it was locked. Locked looked like I was right. It's even further evidence of my speculation being correct. And when I realized my parents weren't here, I suddenly felt less like I had to rush to go to school. There was one portion of breakfast left in the dining room. Probably mine. The milk they'd poured in had gone warm since a while ago. I realized how hard it would be to sneak food for Stoko, Yesterday I had cried. Well, thinking back on it, food wasn't the only issue in that regard. Wasn't in a position where I could care for Stoko for myself anyway. It it's such a heavy thing just to save a single person. I'd seen this on TV and comics all the time. Those feel-good words about how you save your friends for sure and such. Was that why I ran my mouth like that, swearing to save her, because I wanted to feel good about it? No, that absolutely wasn't true. Because the fact was I couldn't save her. Because I didn't want to think like an adult. Like I couldn't do anything but watch. Had Stoko gone to school today? I immediately realized that was a meaningless question. Whether or not she did, there wouldn't be a change in the environment she'd been placed in. If I couldn't save her and no one else could either, I could only pray for a miracle. Are we so powerless? With a vague goal of getting to school in mind, I sluggishly put on my shoes and stumbled out the front door. I had only overslept by 2 or 3 hours, but the sunlight and air felt completely different from how they usually were in the morning. Of course they did. Once 10 o'clock came around, you could barely call it morning anymore. I didn't feel like walking the same old route to school. I needed to ultimately end up there, but it was like, I don't want to choose the shortest route, the most proactive one to go to school. But in more positive life, maybe I wanted some time to walk by myself and think. I had to go to school, partly to make sure Satoko was safe, but I hadn't come up with any plans yet. Nothing since last night. So the path I took from my house was in the complete opposite direction. You idiot. If I went this way, I'd pass Renna's house and the dam site. It would be quite a detour. Calculated how long of a detour it would end up being, then satisfied with the answer, I started to walk. Renna had brought me to the dam site a few times. One section of it had turned into an unlawful, oversized garbage dump, and Renna really liked going fishing for junk in there. Without that, she'd come off as a completely normal girl. I can think of a few other qualities she could do without, but whatever. The view quickly opened up wide, and I was hit by a strong wind. There was no shelter here at the big dam site. Maybe it was a good thing I came here I thought. At the very least, it was more healthy to think about stuff in a place like this instead of a cramped bedroom. I took a deep breath and filled my lungs with rich air unique to Hinamizawa. Ring, ring. Turned around reflexively. It was a bicycle bell. Sitting where I was standing, I don't think they were trying to get me out of the way. They rang the bell because they wanted something from me. Oh, it's you. Hey, excuse me, you're from Hinazawa, right? Yes, why? I've seen this person around a few times. Tomitake? Right, I remembered. His name, I think, was Tomitake, a freelance photographer who lived in Tokyo. He would zealously visit Namizawa every season to take pictures. Or so me and the others told me, I think. Could you tell me how to get to the Furude Shrine from here? I think I left my map at the inn. I don't know where to go. The shrine from here? I knew where everything was in my head, but explaining how to get there was difficult. I was a little irritated at having been bothered for this, but when I realized it meant my detour actually meant something, that feeling faded quickly. I'll tell you, but it's a little difficult to explain. I'd bring you there if you don't mind. Really? I would be in your debt. Thanks a lot. But are you sure? Did you really have something to do? Totake finally appeared to have realized how strange it was for a student like me to be here at this time of day. I smoothly told him not to worry about it, then turned my back and started walking towards the Furude Shrine. Totake hurried to turn his bike around and came after me. Hahaha, sorry. Don't worry, all guys have times where they need to split up from the pack and be lone wolves for a while. What a free-minded freelancer. It was easier for me too, that he was under that impression. I'm Tomitake, freelance photographer. I specialize... Oh, one moment. Sorry about that. I'm still pretty unknown though. It seemed absurd for him to introduce himself when I was just showing him to the shrine. He gave me his name, so I needed to give mine back. I'm Abara. Pleased to meet you, I guess. Abara-kun. Pleased to meet you. He seemed like a pretty silly man, but that felt kind of good, considering I'd been suffocating with worry over Satoko all night. Along the way, Tobitake-san spoke at length to me about how precious the nature in Himisawa was and how it was a treasure trove of rare wild birds, despite my not having asked. I wasn't interested in what he had to say, but he seemed to be enjoying himself, so I left him to it. These steps will take you up to the shrine grounds. Thank you. You really helped me. I think I'm a little late. Taki-san mumbled to himself. He left his bicycle nearby and started to climb up the stairs. Didn't have to watch, but as far as my internal clock could guess, it was still a little late in the morning. School wasn't very far from here. Maybe I could kill a little more time until then. With that in mind, I went up the steps in pursuit of Tomitake-san. We reached the top of the long staircase and arrived at the wide open shrine grounds that were too grand looking for this tiny village. Take-san, oh there he is. Looked like he was supposed to be meeting someone here. Then he got lost and ended up being late. He was bound to a lady who must have been the person he was meeting. The lady, I knew her. Oh, is that you, Mibara-kun? Hello there. Are you off from school today? What? Oh, Mibara-kun, you followed me? I wasn't even planning to. I just had to kill some time. Oh my, arriving at work late like an executive? How refined. Certainly are famous, taking the time to look like a big shot. What was I, a celebrity? Well, she did say my name out of nowhere anyway. I was oddly concerned about what she meant by famous. Oh, you still can't remember my name? Mio. Takano, I think? This is Mio Takano. Got it. She works at the village clinic. Mibara-kun, you seem healthy, so you probably haven't been to the hospital much, have you? Hehehe. Now that we're finally acquainted, the next time you're sick or anything, I suppose I'll give you a little bit of a special treatment. Hehehe. Lady named Takano, I kind of don't remember her. Maybe we'd passed each other on the street a few times, but I'm pretty sure this was the first time we talked. Well, this Hinamizawa, even if I didn't know a person's name, I'm not sure. It's not unusual for them to know mine. I glanced at Takano-san. I saw she had a bag in her camera. Are you photography partners? Was that why you were meeting each other? Oh, we're nothing like partners, but I'm an amateur and your son is gently initiating me into it. Right? That's not it at all. Tako-san is a quick learner. She could take pictures just fine without my guidance. I mean it. I couldn't tell which of them was ahead in the conversation. Well, there's certainly one couple you couldn't get tired of watching. The festival is finally coming up the day after tomorrow. I hope I can take some good pictures this year. Plan on taking some shots of the setup tomorrow. I want to capture the festival energy being shown by the preparations for it too. I just remembered. There was some village festival called Higurashi or something the day after tomorrow on Sunday. They hold a service with a pile of old futons, I think, to give thanks to Himizawa's guardian deity, Ushio-sama, I think. Oh, you're correct. You have quite extensive knowledge despite you being just moving here. Yes, it's a festival to give thanks to Ushio-sama. Each episode somehow Mibara knows more. Takano-san smiled somehow meaningfully, but didn't tell me what part of the festival to thank Ushio-sama. What part of the festival to thank Ushio-sama needed to be laughed at. Huh? Cryptic as ever, Takano-san. But I do wonder what will happen this year. You know what I say, if it happens twice, it'll happen a third time. And it's already happened 4 times. I think there's less evidence that it won't happen a 5th time, don't you think? I knew what they meant when they whispered their exchange. One day, on the day of the Watanagashi, a freak death always occurs, which people call Oyoshio-sama's curse, and a disappearance occurs that people call being demoned away. Every chapter he knows more. These strange events had happened 4 years running, and Watanagashi rapidly approaching the day after tomorrow marked the 5th. Oyoshio-sama's curse puts a curse on enemies of the village. If it does happen this year, I wonder who will find himself at gunpoint. Oh, I always come here to play and donate money when I visit. It won't be me for sure. Oh, is that so? They said Oyoshio-sama's been especially harsh on outsiders recently, you know? Barakun may have only just moved here, but he's a proper member of Hinamizawa. But Yujiro-san, a stranger who only comes once a year. I wonder, will he let you go this year? That's harsh. Mitaka-san was the only one with a pained grin, but we were all smiling, me included. Oshio-sama, the one who used a curse to kill people involved with the dam construction project, one after the next. He killed the dam construction manager, killed Satoko's parents for supporting it, and the next year he killed her aunt. If the demoning away was part of the curse, then you could add Satoshi to the list of victims. As I thought about it, I realized that in the serial freak deaths incidents, the overwhelming majority had the last name Hojo. Half of the deaths and disappearances had come from the Hojo family. The Hojo family had lived in Hinamizawa. Did that mean Oshio-sama punished and cursed them particularly harshly? Because despite that, they had been in favor of the dam? Have you ever heard the news of Satoko's uncle has returned? Takano-san, who enjoyed a few words with Mitaka-san, was caught unaware by my sudden inquiry. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that? Satoko's parents were killed by the curse and her aunt too. So I was wondering if you went in order, her uncle would be next. Her aunt had miserable death for the curse last year. Uncle let his fear take him over and fled into town, right? Or Shio-sama doesn't allow people to try abandon the village, does he? I hadn't intended to be quite this persistent. Those words, they just flowed out of my mouth without me thinking about it. Right. Oshio-sama's curse. I didn't believe in something so unrealistic. Of course, but the fact was that every year, unfortunate accidents and incidents happened to enemies of the village. Like Takano had just said just now, it had happened 4 times. No one could say there wouldn't be a 5th. She instantly knows. Ah, that's an interesting suggestion. If it is true that if you look at those sacrificed in the previous years, those named Hojo came up quite frequently. Given how long it's gone on for, her uncle being the one to disappear this year is not out of the question. Hehehe. Not again, Takano-san. Don't laugh about it. Could really happen. Ooh, I'm sorry. But Oshio-sama's curse is my life's work. Hehehe. Takano-san gave off a mysterious, somehow intellectual impression. Her life's work was mysterious in its own right. She probably really liked inexplicable supernatural phenomena or something. Takano-san, you seem to like you know a lot about Oshio-sama. Give me your honest thoughts. Given that he's a Hojo and that he's returned, what are the chances the uncle will fall to the curse? My, what? You seem like you really want the uncles of her dead. Hehe. That's not it. I wonder. All depends on the whims of God. Mabarakun, do you know the identity of the Santa Claus? Huh? A strange question all of a sudden. I couldn't immediately answer. What, you don't know? It's your daddy. The daddies of everyone's families. What? That's what you mean? Well, of course. Everything ultimately comes down to humans in the end. After all, humans are the only ones living in this world. All strange things should be explainable in the terms of human actions. I felt like I put that somehow strangely, but Takono was not dissatisfied with that uh, with that reply as I might have guessed. Oh, it's impressive that you've caught on to that at such a young age. You're right. Those things that happen in the world of man are all caused by man for his own benefit. Mubarakun, I'll ask you again. This time not Santa Claus, but Oshio-sama. Do you know anything about Oshio-sama? But who Oshio-sama is? Takuro-san took a step forward at me, gazing into my eyes, and she asked. Santa Claus was really the parents of every family's children. If lionizing that legend was corporate tactic to try and profit during Christmas sales, then what was Oshio-sama really? Oh, didn't you already say? There's only humans in this world. Everything can be explained by human action, right? Hehehe. Mabaru-kun, keep this to yourself, okay? This string of freak accidents attributed to Oshio-sama's curse. Takono's view is that they may be premeditated homicides performed by people of Hinamizawa and based on some kind of ceremony. No, don't misunderstand me. My life's work is to research teachings, arts, and cultures from the viewpoint of folklorism. I don't really care at all about who the culprit really is. Just keep that in mind, please. I could tell only that she was saying some crazy stuff. To use food as an analogy, you'd be force-fed a duck to be fattened. Like you'd force-feed a duck to be fattened. She forced her words down my throat. That's what it felt like. To understand that in the first place, you have to go all the way back to the ancient times, when Hinamizawa was called Onigafuchi, or the Demon's Abyss. The transcendents who lived there believed themselves to be carrying the blood of demons, and so were only half human. Takano, who had entered her home field, leaned forward and began to speak of ridiculous matters. Tomitake-san realized she was overraving me? Interrupted for me. Overraving. Takuro-san, you can't just chatter on about that stuff to my Barkun. Look, he's really confused. Oh my, are you? If you want to hear more, ask me anytime. I have heaps of grotesque stories that boys your age seem to love hearing. Thank you. If I feel like it, I will. For now, I softly and safely gave my refusal. Takano seemed to be a little unhappy. Tomitake-san had rained on her parade. She stopped talking about it then. Even so, it was still a very interesting story. The Oshio-sama's curse, which we thought of as strange, freak deaths, were really homicides, perpetrated by people of the village. Well, I mean, if you thought about it logically, it would have to be. People wouldn't be dying because of a curse. Someone's obviously killing people and making it look like one. Indeed. As for who that is, it might be safer not to try and find out. You seem like you know, Takano-san. You may not have proof, but you seem like you believe it. Oh my, why do you think that? I just kind of thought it vaguely. It didn't seem like her extreme passion for the research. I'm sorry. Extreme passion for this research would come down just because these things were taboo, or because it was safer and easier. This person loved walking through the profound, forbidden abyss of risks and taboos. Let's leave it at that, Keiichi-kun. I just hope you escape, and now you're trying to talk about Oshio-sama again. I wanted a nice walk while it was still cool. Tomitake-san seemed a little disappointed not to be able to go on his date he'd planned since I had brought up the weird topic. But right now, there was something I wanted to ask, just for a little bit. And that was about whether Sadako's uncle would be chosen for the curse this year. If he was, then another miracle would happen just like last year. The terrible incident would happen again, but this would release Satoko from her unfortunate circumstances once more. Well, I have a few suspicions as to the kind of people who would probably become involved, of course. It's only natural, inevitable conclusion for anyone who's researched history of Onigafuchi village. Who do you mean? What would I do if I knew? I asked that question to the other me deep inside, but got no reply. How enthusiastic. What would you do if you knew? Nothing really. If you found out, you might get into danger yourself, you know. Maybe the 50 years curse would be you. Hehehe. Takano-san, toying with the taboo, gave a devilish satisfied smile, as though nothing in the world would be more amusing. She was probably trying to tease me, but I didn't feel like going along with her little game on one bit. You like to talk pretty big. You don't really know yourself, do you, Takano-san? I had felt a tinge of irritation at Takano-san's roundabout way of speaking, but those emotions escaped my mouth like water flowing through a strainer. Even I was surprised at how directly I had spoken about what I felt. Of course, I wasn't the only one taken aback. Oh my, you're something. You may just be a boy, but you still provoke people. How unexpectedly rugged. I don't dislike people like that, you know. Takano-san's tongue poked out her mouth, was convinced that it was long, thin, and split in the middle like a snake's. Alright, I'll tell you then. But you have to promise me 3 things first. 1, do not regret it, no matter what I tell you. 2, do not tell it to anyone. 3, not to tell anyone I told you. I gulped firmly and nodded. Kimitake-san made an exaggerated expression of distress, gave a dry, vague smile, and lit a cigarette. Please tell me, who is putting the curse on people? Who is it who's deciding who gets cursed? And after I said that, I finally realized why I wanted to know. Ro is now on the other side. He's the guy cursing people. I'm starting to believe the murder in this episode will be us. And that everything with these skips like that is the game being like, alrighty then. That's your clue. Oh. Sorry again. One moment. Sorry again. All my classmates were playing. Many of my classmates were playing freely in the schoolyard. A few of them had just run out of the school building after putting on their shoes and tapping their shoes to the ground. Look like they just finished eating lunch. From a time manipulation standpoint, I guess I succeeded. Oh, Mabara-san, are you okay? Few girls noticed me and came running over. It was only natural they were worried. They'd think I wasn't there in the morning. They'd be out the rest of the day. Well, I'm just late for school. Don't worry about it. Anyway, what about Satoko? Did she come today? Girls exchanged glances. Saw a thin shadow fall over their faces and knew the answer without needing to hear them reply. Satoko was absent today too. When all was said and done, for being out 3 days, she'd only come back for 1. And now she was out again. Who knew if she would come tomorrow? Yeah, but the teacher said she got a phone call from Satoko-chan. She said she had a cold. Chie-sensei said everyone should make sure to rinse their mouths out really well. Wait a minute, Chie-sensei. That's a little too thick-headed, don't you think? You're a teacher, aren't you? Why can't you be more sensitive and catch on to the fact that your pupil is sending an SOS? But even if she did, there was nothing we could hope for. The most she could do was a home visitation. She didn't have any right to take Satoko from her uncle into safety. No matter the result, it would end up just like a public agency with a wait-and-see attitude. It would just piss Satoko's uncle off, and her suffering would only grow deeper. Wasn't she saying she had a cold the best option? She's right. Be careful not to catch a cold. Got it? You can go now. There's still plenty of time left in lunch break. The girls excitedly scattered into the schoolyard. Okay, Chikun. Good. Rena, I need positivity. Rena was yelling out the classroom window, waving her hand. A moment later, Mion and Rika-chan poked their heads out too. We were worried that even you would be absent today. Thank goddess. You don't seem sick. You look pretty okay. Felt a little uncomfortable with her saying that I didn't look sick, but I didn't care that much. What happened? Overslept? Well, late is late. If I was said I was late because of a train accident, she'd let it slide? You overslept? Mia was being a bit persistent. Was she going to put on her club president cap and scold me for being late? Well, maybe she didn't have it in her, so I briefly stated that she was right. There's still more bento. Everyone eat up. Without Keiichi-kun here, we couldn't have any fun. Satoko is still absent, huh? Even Rena, feigning cheerfulness, couldn't stand to hear that, and her face darkened. She called this morning. Apparently, she said she had a cold and came back, or she was staying home again. She said it might go on for a while too. She must be sad, so we're all talking about going to visit. What are you saying, Rika-chan? Not pleased with Rika-chan's wearing a wide smile as though it was a happy occasion, threw cold water on her. We know best of all she doesn't have a cold, don't we? Don't even tell a fib like that again, even as a joke. I'll get mad next time. Oof. Rika-chan furrowed her brows, looked down, and mumbled an apology. It's not just you, Keiichi-kun. It's hard for everyone. I know I'm not the only one worrying. But none of us can do anything either, can we? That's true, but I got the feeling I would cause another fight if exchanges went on, so apologize first. Sorry. I'm sorry, so forget everything I just said. It's hard for everyone, right? It must be. It was at least clear, however, that I was the only one who had worried so much about rescuing her. At the very least, everyone else probably got the normal amount of sleep last night. Probably got good dreams too. They definitely hadn't stayed up all night thinking so desperately. I know it might not be what you want to hear right now, but you get to school. But you were late today, Kei-chan. Did it have anything to do with Satoko being absent? Huh? Mion, what are you talking about? Sometimes you act like kind of foolhardy, Kei-chan. When both of you and her are absent this morning, we seriously thought you might have kidnapped her and hidden her somewhere. Easy for you to say. If I could have, I would have done it last night. None of them had really thought about how difficult the clear as day situation was. I was up to thinking all night, thinking until the night was brightening, and then I concluded that I couldn't do anything of the sort. Don't be dumb. I couldn't hide someone. You're right. I'm sorry. Apologize if I upset you. Don't worry about it. Anyway, let's eat some food. I'm starving. I took my bento box out of my bag. Everyone moved to make a spot for me to sit. Abara-kun, did you just get here? And just as I was about to stick my chopsticks in, Chie-sensei came along. Yeah. Sorry for being late. I overslept. What the heck? Even the teacher was giving me the strange look. When you're finished eating, could you and the president come to the teacher's lounge? There's something I want to talk about. Probably about Satoko, I thought. Sensei left it at that and went back out to the hallway. Eating lunch can wait. Let's go, Mion. You're right. Mion and I exchanged looks, nodded to each other, and got up. It's probably about Sadako-chan. No doubt about it. They were saying she had a cold, but everyone in class knew the truth. I didn't think she'd have reached the teacher's ears by now. That had reached. I kept playing dumb, so I think she gave up asking me. Reading the truth to the teacher would only worsen the situation. Was that why she hadn't said anything? Or was it because she was Satoko's friend and knew that she was trying to endure the trial of her uncle's abuse in order to get her brother to come home? What should we do? Maybe we should use the teacher to get a collective opinion? What do you want to do, Rika-chan? Meep. Satoko's closest and best friend was Rika-chan. However much I pretended to be her Nini, it didn't come close to the amount of time they'd spent together. So I felt like her opinion should be held in the highest regard. I know why Stoko is enduring her uncle's torture. Aaron looked startled and turned to me. Back whenever Satoko was abused, she probably cried and hid behind her brother. But Satoko thinks that, in the end, that was why her brother ran away. Who did you hear that from? The coach, I bet. I nodded quietly. Satoko believes her brother will come back if she can withstand the abuse. Maybe that's why she's trying to push through. But that assumption has nothing to do with Satoshi coming back. It hurts to say that about Satoko, but it's the truth. Everyone hung their heads. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Satoko probably won't be happy no matter who helps her. She wants to withstand everything with her own strength. But is it really right to respect that? I don't think it is. Even if Satoko hates us for a while, I think there will come a time when we need to save her against her will. And I think that might be now. Told them all about what I saw and how I felt when I went to Satoko's house yesterday. Keiichi-kun, so you think we should tell someone? Of course, only after we're sure the Republic agency will guarantee her safety. Without being sure of it, it could just get more dangerous for her instead. It's a difficult problem. You think we can get a definite promise out of the teacher? I had no confidence, but we had to try. Meanwhile, Rika-chan had her hand raised for a while, as if asking for opportunity to speak. I will leave it to Keiichi-kun. What, is it okay, Rika-chan? Keiichi is thinking about Satoko more than anybody else here. If Keiichi thinks that we need to tell someone, then I have no complaints. Thanks, Mion Rena. Are you okay with that? Mion seemed to hesitate, not knowing if she should agree. But when I saw Rena's firm nod, she made up her mind and did the same. Okay. Let's go, Mion. Right. Only Chie-san was in the teacher's lounge. We didn't see the principal anywhere. Schedule on the blackboard under the principal's name said training going straight home. Our principal's sense of justice was too strong. Satoko's problem couldn't be solved with something so vague. Maybe it was a stroke of good luck that he wasn't here. When the teacher saw Mion and I came in, she closed up her curry bento, saving the rest for later. Sit over here, please. She told us to take a seat in the chairs directly in front of the principal's seat. I hadn't sat in the chair since doing the paperwork for transferring in. The two of us sat there uncomfortably before the teacher walked over carrying a notebook and a ballpoint pen and sat in front of us. Mabarakun, you were absent this morning. Did something happen? I'm sorry. I overslept. Really? I have no reason to lie. She narrowed her eyes at me in suspicion. Now I was sure of it. She wanted to talk about Satoko. In any case, I think you two already know, but your friend Hojo-san has been away frequently lately. Neither Mio nor I had anything to say in response. But the teacher proceeded, not minding. Would you happen to know anything? There's some people in class spreading bad rumors. Mion looked down and remained silent as though she was being lectured. She sent me a quick glance. Everyone had made up their minds. They'd be leaving things to me. Mion-kun? Or Yumabara-kun? I won't get mad or anything. If you know something, I just want you to tell me. Sensei, can we ask you a question first? She must not have anticipated a response. She looked surprised. I don't know about rumors going on about Sadako in class. But if those rumors happen to be true, what would you do, Sensei? Well, what would I do? If it's true, then I can't leave it alone. Can't leave it alone, exactly. What would you do? Sensei's eyebrows shot up. Maybe I said it like I was trying to pick a fight. But Barakun, I'm being serious here. So am I. I'm also being completely serious right now. Please answer me. If it was true, what wouldn't you leave alone? Sensei took a few breaths and began to speak slowly. First, I'd have to visit Hojo-san's house to confirm the situation. Uncle might get mad and drive you away though. Well, okay. Let's say you did meet with Sako and her uncle. Then what? Then I'd ask whether it was true. Once I got the facts, I'd go from here. Please stop talking so vaguely. What exactly would you do? Even despite my tone being so proactive, Chie-sensei bit back her emotions and listened calmly. I thought that she was a good teacher. Chie-sensei really did have her students' best interests at heart. But she didn't have the power of authority to save Satoko. If she let her sense of justice run away with her, the situation could get more complex. Sensei folded her arms, and in a few moments she closed her eyes as though mentally concentrating. When they opened again, there was a strictness in her eyes I'd never seen before. There's always the law called the Child Welfare Law. Clearly states that abuse against the children will not be allowed no matter who it is. So it would seem. Then what? I'd contact the Okunomiya Child Consultation Center. You said just now that I would be turned away, didn't you? Child welfare officers can bring the police with them if the situation demands. They will not submit to intimidation. How many days would it take for you to contact the social worker and submit the paperwork for her to be saved? It would be the same day. Their job is to guarantee the immediate safety of the children. I know that. Then if they decide there's an urgent need, if they don't, they do the same as you. They'd go from there and just wait and see, right? They just watch. To make Satoko's uncle's mood sour, and Satoko would be stuck with him there. Kei-chan, that's going a little too far. I'm not lying, am I? Last year or the year before that, whatever, that's exactly what happened. The child welfare people came in, isn't it? And what happened then? You and Sensei would know a lot better than I would. I had said too much. I didn't need Mion to tell me that. I was talking crazy and itching for a fight. I was supposed to be telling her about the situation only after I was sure we could save Satoko, but basically told her everything right from the start. Chie-sensei looked at the clock and stood up, picked up the phone at the principal's seat. Hello? Put me through to extension 3455, please. She's like, oh yeah, I'm calling them right now. Is that okay, Kei-chan? Is that really okay? It was too late. The die had been cast. Now we could only pray. Oh, thank you for answering my call. I'm Chia, licensed teacher at the Hinamizawa branch school, with Director Watanabe happened to be in the guidance office. Director? Ho ho ho. Child welfare. Yes, that's right. Something urgent came up, so I'd like to contact the principal. As soon as I can. Yes, thank you. Please tell him immediately. Yes, thank you. The teacher put down the phone and tilted her head back and took a breath like a teacher always did. I'll ask the two of you again. Are the rumors going around in class really true? Yes. Yesterday I went to Satoko's house and saw myself how bad it really is. You can leave the rest to me. I'll definitely do something for Satoko-chan. Something. Please stop saying such ambiguous things. Not something. We have to save her. If they end up deciding to wait and see again, how do you plan on taking responsibility? While I was yelling, the phone rang. Chie-sensei snatched the receiver up first. Hello. Oh, I apologize for interrupting your training. Yes, actually it is about the issue with Satoko Hojo-san. After the training, is the principal of the school and director of the welfare place the same person? Huh. No, the main character surely would have recognized him, right? In the first chapter. In the first episode. Or did he not show up on the first episode? Yes. Sensei waved at us, telling us we could leave now. Mion wanted to leave, but I held my ground. Had a responsibility to make sure she stopped saying such vague, ambiguous things. If I didn't look like she was going to say anything substantial, then I'd tell them the truth, even if I had to steal the phone from her. Yes. No, I haven't contacted them yet. Yes. I haven't confirmed it, but she seemed pretty bad from the children are saying. Not just pretty bad, do something about it. Right now! Ah, it's so cringe. If you're going to report it, then I don't care who you tell. But I swear if I end up just waiting and watching, I'll never forgive you. I yelled angry at the principal of the other end. I wanted to somehow convey the feeling how dangerous the situation was right now. I understand that. I will tell them as much. Mion-kun, please tell my Baron-kun back to the class soon. Take him. Ah, yes, ma'am. Let's go, Kei-chan. We should leave this to the teachers now. You better promise. Until the last moment, I glared at Sensei. Chie-san was feeling pressured by the likes of me. Idiot, this isn't the time to be feel pressured. Now's the time when you give me a firm nod to assure me. Even so, we already left things in her hand. At this point, we really can't do anything but pray. Bang. Mion shut the door to the teacher's lounge. Oof. Wow. It's been ending chapters in a really weird spots lately. Yesterday, like 20 minutes before day end, this time middle of the day. Interesting. New tips. Article and statistics of the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Article 2, definition of child abuse. The term child abuse means the following acts committed by a custodian, meaning a person who exercises parental authority, a guardian of a minor, or otherwise person who is currently engaged in a custody of a child. Hereinafter, same shall apply. Against a child, meaning a person who is under the age of 18, hereinafter, the same shall apply. Assaulting the child in a manner that will cause or is likely to cause external injury on the body of a child. Engage in indecency against the child or cause the child to engage in indecency. Substantially reduce the amount of food for the child or be abandoned and neglect the child for a long time period in a manner that may interfere with normal development of a child mentally or physically, or otherwise maternally fail to perform the duty of a custodian, or speak of behavior in a manner that would be significantly traumatic to the child. Article 3, Probation of Child Abuse. No person shall abuse a child. Law Number Act 82 out of 2000. Authored by the Minister of Health and Welfare. Statistics of the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Year 19XX. Principal abuses in case reported by Ministry of Health and Welfare. Total 5,352. Mother by blood 2,943, 55%. Mother not by blood 203, 3.8%. Father by blood 1,445, 27%. Father not by blood 488, 9.1%. Year XX. Instances by type of abuse in case reported by the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Total 5,323. Physical abuse 2,780, 51%. Abandonment of child 1,728, 32%. Psychological abuse 458, 8.6%. Forbidden from going to school 75, 1.4%. Sexual violence 311, 5.8%. I do not like the music after sexual violence was shown up. Let's continue. Oh. Why is nothing showing up? There it is. Huh, weird. The die of fate had been cast. Reporting to a public agency while we'd kept being warned could instead result in something far worse for Satoko if we didn't have the evidence first. And just like that, had I failed, had I let my emotions get the better of me in that moment. Maybe I should have stayed silent and left everything to Mion since she had been relatively calm. Remember the punishment game where we had to badmouth Curry, and how me saying anything would have made it worse, and Sadako told us to leave the talking to her. Maybe it was the same thing here. I was impulsive, so maybe I should have just shut up and looked at the floor. But it was too late to lament it. To be fair, he probably made them take it more seriously than they initially thought to do. But the question is if that will be enough. The die I had thrown wouldn't be coming back into my hands. All we could do was pray for something good to happen. Keiichi-kun, you did everything you could. So leave it to the teachers now. Okay? Everything I could. If it really gave it everything I had, if I had really struggled, I would have dragged Sadako out of her home last night and hidden her somewhere in an abandoned house. I didn't do that, so it means I didn't do everything I could. Stop thinking about it, alright? You're being a little too persistent, Keiichi-kun. At this rate, you'll collapse. Just leave me alone. I left her with those words and stared lazily up to the ceiling. I wondered if I'd really get Chie-sensei to understand. Would a public agency intervene and solve everything within the day? Would they acknowledge the abuse and guarantee her safety? After lunch break, our afternoon classes were mostly self-study. The teacher came back to the classroom occasionally, but then the phone in the lounge would ring and she'd have a long conversation with the caller. Everyone in class got the feeling that they knew what the phone calls were about. Sensei came trotting back into the classroom. I'm really sorry for all the phone calls recently. Let's call it a day. President, please lead the class. Everybody stand up. It looked to me like Sensei had been wearing a dark expression ever since after lunch break. It wasn't a very relieving expression. It wouldn't be. Inu Sensei 100% understood the situation and passionately explained it to the other person. At the end, the Child Consultation Center, as a public agency, would be the ones to decide whether to get her to safety. Sensei understood that as well as us, and that's why she looked so unreliable right now. Kei-chan, let's go home. I don't think anyone feels like having the club today. Hahaha. You probably need to, or Kei-chan is going to do something stupid. Mi-chan, it's no fun if someone's not here. Rena was right. It was no fun for us if someone was missing. If the teacher's expression had shown more promise, then maybe we could have gone home more comfortably. But I couldn't let myself feel relieved. I couldn't be naive and tell myself all I can do is pray now the dice have been cast. Just in case they didn't get her to safety and decide wait and see again, I need to take further measures. I've asked the people who could do something officially already. Then there was one more place that was worth asking for help. She might laugh it off, or I might be right, and it could be endangering my own life. But I'd try. Oh, Mion? Is it okay if I stop by your place today? You've got a lot of manga, right? I want to borrow a bunch of them. Huh? Sure, I guess. There was an ominous meaning behind my words, so Mion realized what I really meant right away. I wanted to talk about something alone. That's what I meant. Mi-chan, Keiichi-kun, let's go home. Mina already had her shoes on and she was waving to us from the schoolyard. Mion's house was a gigantic in every way imaginable. The house itself was vaguely old-fashioned, traditional Japanese house, but the yard, I guess, or the plot of land was enormous. It easily convinced me that they really were major landowners with Hinamizawa under their thumb. Mion brought me to the guest room and a servant brought us some tea. Wow, you really are rich, huh? You even got housekeepers. And my aunt are the only ones who live here. I wouldn't be able to do everything myself. The servant left telling us it was 5 o'clock, then withdrew with the soft footsteps. Now people come in to take care of grandma and clean 2 or 3 times a week. They come in rotations of 3 or 4, so there's someone here almost every day. Only until evening though. Oh, and if we're having a party sometimes, we need more help. We call different people. Help different people. You had the money to hire all these people, then just take Satoko in. I glared at her as though that, and Mion seemed to catch on immediately. Oh, sorry. It's fine. I know it's not a money problem. Just to be clear, my family may be rich, but it's not money that I can use freely for myself, okay? I don't want you to misunderstand that. It kind of looked like I was bullying her. Mion had been apologized to me a lot lately. Was Mion the sort of person who would do such a thing? Maybe it's just that I've been looking so grim lately. So, what's up? We had something to talk about, right? I have something pretty serious to discuss, Mion. This was sudden and it might surprise, but I want you to hear me out. What? I'll give you a way out first. Even if what I say is true, you don't need to admit it. You're allowed to play dumb. But I want you to listen until the end. I have something to say to the next leader, or what's still the most important of the 3 farmers of Ningafuji village, Mion Sonomizaki. At first, Mion looked like she had no idea what I was saying, but at hearing the whole sentence and pouring it out together, she reacted. Where did you hear that? It doesn't really matter. I definitely couldn't tell her who told me. Takano-san, you told me not to, but please forgive me. This is why I asked you about it after all. I was surprised just that you heard Onigafuchi village, Kei-chan. But you seem to know a lot of things, both true and false, about me too. Yeah, true and false. And I really might just have the wrong impression here. But I'm okay with that too. So listen. And if it really is true, I don't know what you're getting at, Kei-chan, so let me say it beforehand. We got a big misunderstanding. So if it was possible, I wouldn't want to hear what you're about to say. Because even if you said it, I can't do anything to help you. Still, if it's talking about it will lighten your burden a little bit, I'll listen. I'm only just going to listen. Nothing more will happen. Are you okay with that? Yeah. Mion seemed to know what kind of thing I'll be talking about. She warned me that doing so would be fruitless. That much was obvious. If what I was going to say was true, then the Sonozaki family would be the masterminds behind the strings of freak incidents that have been occurring every year in Hinamizawa. You know that stuff about Ushio-sama's curse, right? Mion nodded a little. No one knows what it is or why it happens. Even if each incident is solved, the string of deaths and accidents as a whole is still a mystery. But there is one thing connecting them all, and that's how the targets were always enemies of the village. Seems like it. Mion spoke as if it didn't relate to her. That was fine. She didn't have to admit it. For now, I just wanted her to stay quiet and listen to me. Day after tomorrow, it's Watanagashi, isn't it? Has the sacrifice for this year's curse been decided already? Mion didn't answer. Expression remained the same too. Like she said, she was just quietly listening. Sorry. The promise was that you'd only listen, so it's weird for me to ask a question, huh? Mion gave a look like she'd never given before, a faraway look, a sympathetic one. She didn't nod, she just smiled faintly and listened to me. If this year's curse isn't going to be Sadako's uncle, then please change it to him. I mean, last year it was her aunt, right? If it's the right order, so it wouldn't be weird. You're right, it seems like there's an order. I mean, after her aunt died, the curse last year, he abandoned Satoko-chan, fled into town for a whole year. Why would a guy like that definitely be the next Oshio-sama's list? There shouldn't be any issue with choosing him for this year. I see. If he were to die from the curse this year, no one would see anything unusual about it. I heard that Oshio-sama's curse as well. No matter how I looked at it, I wasn't sure whether I should continue. No matter how I tried, the words wouldn't come out. The single freak instance in Himizawa, also called Oshio-sama's curse, is saying that their instance, precipitated by the incident carried out by the three families at the Sonozaki instructions. Is that it? I don't care one bit whether you have anything to do with it. I'm just saying, if you have any way of communicating to whoever decides the targets of the curse, then I just want you to tell them to choose Satoko-sanko. Please. Everything you've been saying has been terrible. If the freak incidents in Himizawa were carried out by the will of the Sonozaki family, that would mean that the main culprit would be me, wouldn't it? I would have chosen the targets of the curse, given instructions to kill many people and gotten rid of others. You call me a murderer, Kei-chan. I didn't say that. Didn't you listen to me? I don't care whether you're the one behind the murders or not. I just don't. Even if you were the culprit, it doesn't change the fact that you're my friend. It doesn't matter at all. If the police were chasing you, I'd come to help. I'd make you an alibi and even help you escape, because we're friends and comrades. Aren't we? We'll look a little surprised for a while. She was dumbfounded. She's like, where were you with that last game? Last episode. I swear, sometimes it feels like they have some carryover between episodes. Now you're declaring yourself a complicit? Kei-chan, that's pretty bold of you. Come on, don't interrupt. Satoko-sanko, choose him for... Stop right there, Kei-chan. I want to start out dinner soon, so I'd like to leave things at this. Me on. Then I realized that my cheeks were wet with tears. They slid down my chin and fell drip down on the tatami mat. It's like I said from the start. You got a big misunderstanding. Oshima's curse is just that. Even if there were people behind the incidents, they don't have anything to do with the Sonozaki family or me either. Right. Understand that it's just... It was touching to hear that such a desperate plea, Kei-chan. That was all it was. Even if I wanted to help, I can't. You understand that too, right? Yeah. But now I know how you feel so well it hurts. If I really were, like you said, the one controlling the three families and choosing sacrifices every year, I'd probably grant your wish. Me on. But the reality is different. I'm just me and Sonozaki. My family may be the subject of all the sorts of bad rumors about controlling Himizawa from the shadows. But we have nothing to do with those freak deaths incidents. We have been a little extreme during the damn war, but that's all. We would never do something so insane as to kill people. Don't say such sad things. Right now, at least. I don't care. Why can't you just be nice and lie to me? Kei-chan, you're free to believe it. Believe what you want. If I lied to you now, you'd be convinced Sadako would be free the night after tomorrow and you'd be able to shed much of your burden. Our reality is harsh. Sadako's uncle will survive beyond that day. He'd still be alive next week and then week after that. You need to prepare yourself for that. I don't want you to coming to me the day after Watanagashi, demanding to know why he wasn't killed. Mion. Mion stood up and closed the sliding door to keep the wind that had grown chilly. Was it Mio-san? Did she give you all those ideas? She really likes to misunderstand things about Himizawa. Well, we can let her have her fun. I don't really want her influencing you, Kei-chan. Jeez. This is why outsiders are no good. Takano-san has nothing to do with this. Right. Don't worry. Even though I know she told you about it, Kei-chan, there's nothing's going to happen. It's like Mio-chan will be chosen for this year's curse. Oh, really? Really now? I'm sure. Besides, we don't even know for sure if the curse will happen this year. Maybe it was just a pile of unfortunate coincidences. Thanks for listening. If you aren't connected to serial deaths at all, then that must have been a confidential conversation. I apologize for it. I see. You apologize for it. Ha 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 ha. Oh, she's angry. Beyonce said she didn't have much time, but she brought me to the gate. She said she had a meeting or something today about Sunday's Tatarigoroshi festival. There would be a lot of people from town council and festival committee coming. Despite her being so busy, she still listened to what I had to say. If there is a God in heaven, then he probably understands how strongly you feel. Yeah, I'm really sorry for being so weird today. You can pretend like this discussion never happened if you want. Okay, I'll forget about it. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Oh, Mion is angry. Oh, that's my impression. I'd really only spent a short time with Mion. Talking to her made me think. It was clear that whatever Takuno-san had told me, at least, wasn't a complete fabrication. If Mion was really unconnected to this incident, then she probably wouldn't have listened to me so quietly. She heard me out until I was done without making any quips. And I wanted to think that was proof. I did kind of feel like I was grasping at straws. Of course, thinking back on it, it was a terrible thing to discuss. I mean, I went to my friend's uncle, called her a serial murderer, and then told her to kill Satoko's uncle. Was the only one talking the whole time. Mion quietly listened to everything I had to say like a pastor listening to a confession. She could have gotten angry partway through, told me off, and to go wash my face in miso soup and come back later. But she didn't. Was the proof that Mion's family, the Sonzakis, were masterminds? Or was she just listening because she felt sorry for me going kind of crazy? I didn't know which it was, but it was the one effort I could make at that moment. It was another form of insurance. Should worse come to worse, the public agency decided to wait and see. It was a completely useless assistance, literally grasping at straws. Sensei said that if she reported it to the child consultation center, they'd have to respond on the same day. Could they already be in the middle of responding to it now? If Satoko came to school tomorrow morning all energetic, then everything would be just a needless fear. Why couldn't tomorrow come faster? That night was unusually hot and humid, and I couldn't get to sleep. I said all that to Sensei. They couldn't possibly decide to wait and see again this year. Sadako. Whoops. Sadako, what was it like for her tonight? Had she tasted the end of her nightmares, enjoying a night of liberation? Actually, put my hands together, and I actually put my hands together and prayed into my futon. Damn, another time when we had like half a chapter day in one chapter, half in another, huh? Good morning, Keiichi-kun. Morning. Thank goodness. I thought you all slept today too. Your mom said you gone on ahead yesterday and then you were at school. I was worried that you had gotten a heat stroke halfway there. Yeah. I'm sorry for all the worry I caused you yesterday. Hey, good morning. Really? English? Mi-chan, good morning. Are you alright? You look really tired. Alright, wasn't there a big business meeting with all the people at town council yesterday? They only called it they only called it that. It was more like a party. We have a little festival every year, right? We wouldn't have any annoying meetings at this point. We shouldn't. Are you going to help out with the festival this afternoon then? Yep. I have to meet and greet with all those people in Grandma's place. Besides, they already started setting up the festival. Our morning conversation was light-hearted as usual. It looked like Mion had thankfully forgotten about how I'd barged into her house yesterday with the crazy talk. The more I think about it, I felt like I really had said something terrible to her. I was really thoughtless, and it wouldn't have been weird if she'd yelled at me. It was hardly possible Takano-san had exaggerated her story. To think that our comrade and friend Mion, the young lady of Sonozaki's, or one of the three families effectively controlling Hinamizawa, was pulling the strings behind the serial death incidents, was a little unbelievable. But if there was even a 1% chance that it was true, then what I said yesterday to Mion might have been a success. Yes, it was no more than 1 in 100, but that little bit of effort might have brought the chances of saving Satoko up even a little bit. Oh, bot came in and tried to advertise streaming bots, and he got murdered. Hooray! At least I made that effort. After yesterday, I wasn't sure I'd done everything I possibly could. If there was something else I could do, it was probably just to clasp my hands and pray that Satoko's uncle could be killed by the curse. I hope Satoko makes it today. Me too. Sensei's doing things for her, right? I'm sure it'll be fine. My aunt is a welfare agent in Hinamizawa district. I gave her a call last night. Ah, I didn't know your aunt was a welfare officer. What happened? Did you tell her about Satoko-chan? Yep. Sensei called the child consultation center right after we talked to her. A child welfare officer apparently visited before the night was over. My aunt said that they were going to pay visits at regular intervals from now on. Enough with the dumb little stuff. I want to know what happened to Satoko. Did they get her safe? My aunt wasn't that informed about it. I was supposed to keep this a secret anyway. Her telling me was a big breach of ethics in the first place. Damn, that makes me feel worse. Let's go to school. Right. Discussing this more would just make us feel worse. It was far quicker to go to school to see if Satoko was safe or not. The three of us nodded and ran off. Was Satoko safe? What measures had the child consultation center taken? Couldn't care what, as long as we could go back to our peaceful life with Satoko today, it didn't matter to me. At the school rack at the entrance, Rena took a peek at Satoko's shoe cubby. Ah, Satoko's shoes are here. They're here. Kei-chan, Satoko came. Thank goddess. We don't know if anything happened just because she came to school. Can't know anything until we see her face. We trotted towards the classroom. The classroom was lively as usual, as it usually was in the morning. Sadako, where are you? Me. She's right here. Oh, she's gonna look horrible. It's too early in the morning to be so loud. Would you please keep it down a bit? Sadako-chan, are you okay? All her friends crowded around Sadako excitedly. A probation officer came, right? How did it go? Who was it that called them? I swear it was quite a mess, you know? It was the teacher. You were absent for school. Of course, she was worried. Sadako said, I told you I'm fine under her breath. She was still trying to overcome all the suffering on her own. It was a big brother to both me and my uncle. That person just barged on in on us and suddenly, geez. Everyone was worried about you, Sadako. Don't say it was a bother. Oh, geez. Anyway, what happened? Nothing happened. Oh, ho, ho, ho. My cold got better, so I came back to school, that's all. I can't take too much time off from now on because then you'll all worry about me. Ho, 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 ho. What was Toko saying? What happened to him while your uncle? He admitted there was some misunderstandings and we both apologized. Tug. Rika-chan grabbed the back of my collar and pulled me away. What is Rika-chan? Rika-chan suddenly dragged me all the way to the hallway. Rika-chan, what did that mean? Sadako said nothing was happening and chased them away. That idiot. But why? Obviously that was going to happen. I mean, not obviously, but that was the highest chance. Not somewhere in my mind, I thought it might turn out this way. Sadako didn't ask for anyone's help. She didn't hide behind anyone. She was trying to ride out this pain. She wanted to show Satoshi proof that if she came back to them, she wouldn't need to hide behind him anymore. But quote said probation officers can bring her to safety in emergency even if it's against her wishes. However much Satoko denies the abuse, it's a fact. Chie-sensei finally came. Expression was far from cheerful. Yes, you're right, my brother. If the child welfare officer determines that the emergency, they have the right to immediately take them to safety, regardless of the affected party's intent. Then why? Why is Satoko intend to being respected so much? It's weird. Why don't they put her into safety? But after looking into it many angles, that's what the Okonomiya Child Consultation Center determined. What the hell is that? Sensei, didn't you say it was going to be alright since you definitely say here? What's the meaning of this? Why doesn't it make any sense? Answer me, damn it. Keiichi, this is actually the third time someone has reported Satoko's child abuse. It happened twice in the past too. Ruda-san. Sensei tried to stop her, but Satoko-chan went on speaking anyway. Twice before, I heard that they decided to wait and see, and then after reported winter before last, it happened before that too. Satoko's father, who died, wasn't her real father. What? Chuka-chan, what's that? Stunned at the sudden revelation. I had no idea Rika-chan wanted to tell me, but it seemed really important, so I couldn't get a word in either. Satoko's mother remarried. She brought Satoko and Satoshi with her, so weren't related blood to their father. Satoshi was a good kid, one who listened politely to what adults told him. He was immediately welcomed by their new father and was loved. But Satoko was different. She was rebellious and told lies, she played pranks. The stepfather didn't like her at all. What? So what do you mean? Even before she was given to her uncle and his wife, Satoko didn't have a very good relationship with her family. Of course, her stepfather didn't have any malicious intent at the start. At first, he must have worked hard to get her no data to accept him. But the young Satoko didn't make any effort at all towards that end. She was distant towards her stepfather and never opened her heart to him even a little. She just got on his nerves all the time and seemingly forced lies and pranks. Father's discipline and punishment must have been loving at first, of course, but that too faded quickly. I don't know what it was, because it wasn't Himizawa at the time, but I learned this on the phone yesterday. What story did you hear, Sensei? Satoko-chan wanted to trick her parents, especially her stepfather, so she made up a false story for the child consultation center herself. She made a story about hurting herself. Satoko made a fake phone call to try and get rid of the father she hated. Child welfare rushed there and heard the story. The father genuinely apologized for the few times that he had gone too far and agreed to let the child welfare center give him coaching. Related agencies looked into it quite a bit. They determined that Satoko-chan and her father's hearts had not been quite matched up what was caused the incident. But they found another problem about that Satoko-chan. A problem with Satoko, what was it? Okay, Keiichi isn't being an ass anymore, let's be normal. Satoko's mother, there was a few times where she had lived with de facto husbands, though the relationship didn't result in marriage. For a young age, Satoko had been forced to call at least 2 or 3 people her father. At some point, Satoko's pranks escalated. She would spill food on purpose, turn over her plate, and even throw it. She would break the window in the neighborhood and shoplift candy. She would put thumbtacks everywhere and set other traps to seriously hurt people. Not in a way she did now, just to get laughs. She was also fond of telling lies that would be found out right away, and people got mad at her every time. But she never ever changed her behavior. Please don't think Satoko-chan was a problem child. Satoko was young, there were acts of self-defense that she took so those unknown men wouldn't take her mother from her. In regards to Satoko-chan's problematic behavior, child psychology experts from public institutions indicated her actions were drawn to her mother's attention to herself. They acknowledged that she had a form of harmful emotional trauma and declared that she needed counseling and therapy from professionals. They didn't know whether that therapy had healed those wounds in her heart. Satoko-chan purposely hurt herself and told them that she was being abused by her stepfather in an attempt to chase him out. But in the end, her stepfather did abuse her, right? No, all the abuse had been made up by Satoko-chan. The stepfather, of course, may have scolded her in a somewhat emotional way, but it was nothing out of the ordinary. Sadako had lied to chase away her stepfather. And they saw through her right away and found out that Satoko had issues. Oh, could it be that's why the winter before they decided to wait and see? Yes, the Child Consultation Center had all the past records, so they needed to act careful in case Satoko was lying. What the hell? So what? Sadako might be telling a lie, so they needed to be careful. But how does that mean they just end up waiting and seeing? It was the girl who cried wolf. Yep, that fable without telling a lie once, making others unwilling to believe you later. That's bullshit. The past has nothing to do with this, does it? Only what's really happening right now is important. Sadako's abused by her uncle, which is why something had happened in the past, getting in the way of helping her now. Nara Sensei, no Rika had anything to say to that. Anyway, yesterday a problematic probation officer visited to carefully determine what was going on. And Satoko dealt with them, put on the best, strongest smile she could manage, and denied the abuse. Of course, she was probably being threatened to keep quiet about it by her uncle. Sadako was trying to outlast everything without asking for help. Sadako wanted to wait for Satoshi to come back home, and she outright denied the truth of the abuse. What an idiot. What? You're really enduring it? Do you really think pretending like this will actually bring Satoshi back? Just stop it already. Satoshi, he abandoned you. The fact that he hasn't shown up to save you now is proof, isn't it? So just stop it. Please stop being weird and pretend to endure it. Forget everything we just said. Understand. If you tell anyone else, your teacher will be very mad with you. Chie-sensei gave me a warning, then left to go back to the teacher's lounge. Keiichi, please don't think Satoko is a pathetic, pitiful girl. She's living life. I know that. She's our irreplaceable friend. Satoko is still trying her best. Let's watch over her a little longer. That person from Consultation Center said that visit periodically from now on. If something terrible happens, they'll help her right away. Yeah, but only after it happens. Any more than that would have sounded like I was picking a fight. So I firmly swallowed my next words and went back to the classroom. Miro and Rena were talking to Satoko like they always did. It was a silly conversation. A humorous, even fun one, like it was any old day. If Satoko really said she could still endure it, then maybe I should do as Rika said and watch over her. Maybe whatever help I offer would just go unwanted. Higurashi when they cry. Honestly, this is kind of tearing me up. This kind of topic really hits into my feels. Okay, why don't we all have lunch? Meep? Ha 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 ha. It's been a while since it's been fun for us. This really is how it has to be. Here. Come on, you two, Kei-chan. Bring your desk over. Satoko brought her own desk over as well, grinning broadly. Even knowing nothing had been resolved, the exchange was pleasant and made me remember how fun it used to be. I can't have Rika make a bento for me forever. I don't mind. I have fun making a bento. Rika-chan's such a good girl. I'm such a good friend, must be reassuring. I put the big steak in mine and burn one in Satoko's. I put the big steak in mine and burn one in Satoko's. So it was just Satoko. It would be so sad, so very sad. Nipa. I take it back. Well, she's Rika-chan after all. Hey, look. I got omelette rice today. Mushrooms and stuff are delicious. Delicious. How? I say it every time, but your craftsmanship is splendid. You could become a wife whether or not Oh, wait, sorry. Uh, you could become a wife whenever and not have a problem. A wife? A wife? A wife? Eating a wife? Oh? Using the word wife is totally forbidden around Urena. Please don't say it again. I'll think about what I've done a little. By the way, what is new about Shimion? Looks different again today. We're all waiting in anticipation. It's a rich assortment of side dishes left over from what my uncle brought last night. The stew looks great. Really great, huh? The color of the radishes too. Really good, right? Wow, it looks delicious. Stew tastes best when it's left overnight. This looks like it would be really good. And so there'll be none left for Satoko. I'll eat it all and tell you what I think, so just be quiet and watch. What was that? Can't all my portion too. Elbow punch headbutt. I'll use my knees too, warrior. Oh ho ho ho. Close range like this, my advantage is unwavering. Keiichi-san, the daikon on your portion tastes really good. Damn it, coming right for me to start using a combo attack. How humiliating. This little exchange, how long had it been? It looked like they'd end up going with the wait and see approach, but maybe her uncle had realized he'd gone a little too far with dial back now. If her treatment improves a little, would that be a good thing? Sadako was grinning wider than I'd ever seen as she chomped down on the mouthful of daikon she'd plundered from me. It really tastes that good. Sadako was somewhat cute like that, and just as I'd done many times, I grabbed her head and started petting it. Catch! Smack, flip, flop, clatter, clatter. Huh? Sadako-chan? It was so sudden, and for a moment I didn't know what had happened. Back of my hand was stinging. I want to pet, Sadako said, and then she hit my hand. What's wrong, Sadako? Sadako was scratching at her head, as though a pimple or something had appeared on it and become an itch. It was so sudden and so unprovoked that I didn't understand what happened. What's wrong, Sadako? At some point, her body had been covered in a thin layer of sweat and her breath had turned ragged. When I pet her, she did not like it. Was that what it meant? Did you dislike being petted? Once again, I slowly held up my palm of my hand, body close to Sadako's head. The instant the palm reached her head, there was a shock of little static electricity, and Sadako began to howl. But slam. She grabbed my arm with both hands and flung it off like a snake trying to coil around her. As if trying to throw away something dirty, she threw it violently. It happened too suddenly for me to react. Hit the desk behind me, and it and I fell to the floor. Carson fell deathly silent. Oh, I do not like the implication of that combined with the implications from the previous steps. As Sadako bellowed, it sounded like she was in the throes of death, and she unsteadily backed away. There she threw up the food she'd just eaten. She vomited it all back up, splish splash. The sound of Sadako vomiting hit the floor, rang throughout the classroom. Are you okay, Sadako? You seem sick. I reached out a hand, and she swatted away with all her might. Such extreme strength that it fell onto the floor again. Sadako put both hands on her head as though protecting it, and groaned some more, and took a few steps back. And then she began swinging both hands around. Students nearby seemed so forced to evacuate. She grabbed anything in reach, bent the box's chairs, and threw them, tossed them, flung them about. Wait, stop it, Sadako. What's wrong with you? She screamed as if Mion's words had caused her physical pain. No one spoke a word to her. All the students were withdrawing behind us, leaving Sadako alone in the corner of the classroom. Round her were desks and chairs all over the floor, bent or lay, scattered. It was terrible. All I could hear was Sadako's ragged breaths and the voices of the cicadas. I'm sorry. The strings of tension loosened around Satoko. And maybe she suddenly grew scared of her own actions because she started trembling and gave a word of apology. But nobody knew just what the apology was, just who the apology was directed towards. So for now, I decided to answer as everyone's representative. No, it's fine. Are you alright? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Our words didn't match each other at all. Sarah hugged her shoulders and back she went. Bang. She ran to the locker with the cleaning supplies in it. You made her give a little yelp. The impact caused the bucket atop the locker to fall, making a loud sound and scared Satoko most of all. She jumped out of her skin, grabbing a bunch of curtains in her hand. Nobody spoke to her. She could only look, not even remembering to blink. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oops. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Satoko, what on earth? Stood up, took a step away from her and approached Satoko. What happened? I said, I don't know. You're wrong. Please stop. Forgive me. Just calm down. Sadako, do you know who I am? No more. I hate this. Every time I took a step forward, she grasped the curtains more tightly and cried out, Sadako, it's me, Keiichi. Did you recognize me? I would never ever hurt you. No! Calm down. It's alright. I'm your friend. Help me. I don't want to be scared. It feels so bad. No, I don't. Turning my shoulders, grabbed us, dragged backwards. Mion or Rena? Okay. Sorry, Keiichi-kun. Get a little further back. After pulling me back, she ran towards Satoko in my place. It's okay, Satoko. There's nothing to be scared of. Please don't worry. No. Nini, help me. Nini, help me. She gripped the curtains, kept calling for Nini. She continued to wail about being forgiven for something and to be saved from something. What is this? Mion gnashed her teeth and groaned, and there were tears falling from her firmly closed eyes. What the hell is this? Didn't this all come to an end yesterday? We were supposed to go back to old lives? Mion. Crash. There was a crazy sound. Rena had taken the cleaning supply locker and kicked it down to the ground. Everyone stood surprised at Rena's unexpected act of brutality. After that, Rena embraced the falling Sadako from behind and started crying with her stifle. Rena, what's wrong? Sorry, Keiichi-kun, be quiet for a minute. What is it now? What happened? What did Sakura tell you? What did you hear? Shut the hell up. Told you to shut your mouth, asshole. Rena's raw, hostile emotions hit me like a brick. It was no more than a momentary howl of emotion for Rena. It was more than that for me. It showed me what was really behind all that emotion. What's in her heart. Oh, Satoko-chan. No more. Forgive us. We can do anything for you. Forgive us. Nini. I'm sorry. Regards for being unable to do anything. Rena's words made me feel as though the blood vessels in the back of my head were suddenly all turning to ash. My vision grew distant and blurred with gray, and the world lost its color. But I thought we could save Satoko. But though I knew it'd be the sooner the better, I thought there was no time limit for doing that. I never even dreamed that we could be too late. I'd been making a huge mistake. Satoko could be hurt, but not that she'd break. It was such a huge mistake. People, they break. Thinking that they don't, it's absolutely absurd. We need to save Satoko. We need to save her before she broke. The fatal lapse in awareness had brought this on. Whose fault was it? That went without saying. Mine, no ours. We all took on the duty of saving Satoko. We were all negligent to the point of laziness. In that sense, this was the inevitable result. Even if this didn't happen today, and it happened tomorrow, or the day after, or next week, we would have just sat around doing nothing until that day. So this was the obvious result. Clamped down on my knees, just as Mion and Rika-chan had done. I too closed my eyes tightly and couldn't stop myself from sobbing. What's all the noise about? What happened? Teacher came in and her face screwed up at the terrible spectacle before her. Then suddenly she realized that the teacher was here. Satoko went through another complete change. She wiped her face to the curtains like nothing had happened and smiled. Hojo-san, what on earth is going on here? Oh, I just got a little squabble. Renaissance is all. Not crazy or lunches, right? I didn't reply or not. But then Satoko swished it. She nodded without strength. The rest of the class couldn't keep up with extreme changes. We all just stared in a daze. Oh ho ho, it was just a little horseplay. I scared everyone out of their wits. Oh ho ho, Satoko would probably sweep the whole thing under the rug. For what? Her heart is torn to pieces, so what else? You want your Nini to help, don't you? But fortunately for you, Satoshi doesn't even intend on coming back. And it's never that easy. He won't just conveniently show up to save you. Sorry, I just thought it would be very funny if he did, but never mind. So you don't have to wait for him anymore. You can cry, beg for help, and you can run away. Wah. We can't do anything. Mion suddenly said. She spoke, then those few words that tormented me countless times. Those words were a spell. When I heard them, my whole body suddenly regained its calm. My emotions all slipped away like they never had been there, like a wave departing. And then the world's color flipped inside out. Field of vision expanded. My head grew remarkably cold, and I felt like my mind's volume had grown even wider in the classroom we were in. At the time, my soul was doubtlessly no longer in the small, petty vessel of my head, but floating in the air a little bit above it. It was a mysterious feeling of release. I broke free of the cramped confines of my skull and stretched out to my roots, in all directions as I wanted it to. As far as I wanted to. I accidentally pressed something. I have no idea what that does. I put it back. What did I want to say? Interesting choice of music. It was a strange feeling, and one I'd never felt ever before. An odd sense of exhilaration. My sharpened senses caused me to ascend. My mind was sharper than a knife's edge, and I immediately decided that spending the time to let myself be crushed with grief were an absolute waste. I erased all the garbage information from my brain. I expelled the pointless emotions presenting obstacles to my actions. Neon, you curse it all you want. Curse or powerless as much as you want. Huh? If I could have taken back what happened by crying about it, I would have cried all day. But the fact was, this was how things had turned out. I couldn't take back what had happened. The top priority then would be to prevent the situation from worsening further, to sever the chains of misfortune. Till today, I've been looking at things so narrow-mindedly, I could scarcely believe it. To save Satoko, the only thing to do was to save Satoko. That's the only thing I thought about. I didn't allow myself to realize the most basic, direct, and certain way of removing the source of Satoko's unhappiness. Ooh, we really are about to go murder, aren't we? No, actually, I realized it yesterday. But as for the means, I relied on some stupid curse for some dumb deity, and never considering carrying the task out myself. I would obliterate Satoko's uncle. There were plenty of ways to do it. This was a task that held infinite methods. Ironically, the method of saving Satoko required mostly money, but the method of killing the man pretty much took no money at all. I could kill him with the least amount of investment. The least amount of money suited him. It was only the weight of his life. I kept eliminating needless, worthless information from my head, replenishing it with only the knowledge I needed to achieve my goal. I used every cell in my brain to think about how I'd kill him. The way I killed him didn't matter. I would allow any method from whatever time and whatever country, as long as it ended in a quick and certain death. If I were to have an additional condition, it would be to not get caught. Removing him was an act of design to return the peaceful times we had with Satoko. If I was arrested in exchange for the removal, then we might as well have killed each other. Only him gone we'd go back to our normal lives. That was my supreme objective, my ultimate goal. Kill him definitely, but definitely don't leave evidence either. Two alternatives at odds with each other. The conditions of not leaving a trace back to me automatically narrowed the number of murder methods. No witness was an absolute must. Fortunately, given the right time in Himizawa, there would be nobody around. I mentally reconstructed the land around Satoko's house. The number of pedestrians different at different times. The movements algorithms of the neighbors. I would lure him out or charge at him. What would my weapon be? When and where would I carry this out? Where, if needed to be somewhere I couldn't have a trace. When it needed to be as soon as possible, to talk of safety without wasting even a millisecond. This is absurd, completely absurd. When I thought about it this way, it struck me how easy the act of killing was. If I could leave evidence, if I was just going to kill him, anyone could easily turn into a murderer. But reasons prevented that. He told us doing so would get us arrested for sure. In the end, being arrested by the police was the final thing preventing people from committing homicide. Absurd. If you went all the way out into the middle of the ocean, you wouldn't leave any trace at all. Anyone would drop those they hated into the depths if they knew that. It was all too easy to simply remove him. I could leave class right now, grab a metal baseball bat or something from the schoolyard, go to his house and attack him. I estimated time would be 25 minutes. If I wanted us to kill each other, it wouldn't even be minutes. I could do it in 1500 seconds. I knew just how much his continued existence depended on me. He was nothing. I could expel him from the world within just 1500 seconds. After making up my mind. When I decided what to do, he only had 1500 seconds. Actually, if I ran full speed to his house, that number would go down even further. But he was alive. He was still part of the world at this very moment, having torn Satoko's body and mind to shreds. Why? Because I was letting him live. I was permitting him to live, so he was alive. If I rescinded that permission, he would be evacuating his mortal coil within 1500 seconds. You think I'd let you live to breathe even 1500 more seconds of air? I'm taking that permission back right now. You better thank me for letting you live until today. However, I actually need more than 1500 seconds. Not just gonna end you. I'm not just going to end you. Getting back to our old lives is far more important. If only you, I'll be cleanly cutting out of this world. They wouldn't find a culprit. I'll forget that I dirtied my hands at the likes of you as naturally as I brush my teeth before bed. So to do that, I'll make a special exception for you and give you more than 1500 seconds. I'll give you a special permission to live as long as you have until I can construct the perfect plan for your murder. Wait, Keiichi. You can't let that time go to waste. Yeah, I know. I'll kill him quickly. I'll remove him with certainty. I won't even waste much time to perfect the plan. Think back to tomorrow. Tomorrow is Watanagashi, isn't it? Last year on the night of Watanagashi, her aunt died. Her head was busted open by some deviant and her brains splattered everywhere. That's it. He's someone who deserved to be given death on the night of Watanagashi. Hiroshi-sama, you call yourself a guardian, but you didn't protect Satoko. Cursing Satoko's family for the damn stuff is just your own business. But now you've made Satoko unhappy when she didn't have anything to do with it. I, Keiichi Mibara, hereby denounce you, the guardian dear to Hinamizawa, a failure. We don't need you. Go back to the deepest, darkest parts of your shrine this year. Besides, if you had your curse If you had just cursed and killed both her aunt and her uncle last year, none of this would have happened. The curse this year is not on you. I'll be the one deciding. It won't be the three families controlling the serial deaths behind the scenes. No, not some vague people who I can't tell if they're buffoons or not. This time, I'll be the one delivering divine judgment. So don't get in my way, you just watch. Stay quiet and watch. I'll obliterate him. I'll wipe him off the face of the earth. I will stomp out his very existence. Go away, disappear, and die. I'll tear your heart just like you did to Satoko. I'll have your blood as payment. Ooh. Ah! Keiichi-kun, are you alright? Rami and Rika were all staring at me. Had I fallen to the floor? You surprised us all. You suddenly fell down. You having a nightmare? You were moaning. Shut it. Quit speaking to me like that. Oof. Oh, he's about to be cringe. My friends gave a start and backed away. What? One or the others, they exchanged glances, unsure what to say. It stood confused for a few moments. Was that your voice, Keiichi-kun? Of course it was. Rena gulped firmly and opened her mouth. For a second, Keiichi-kun, your eyes were really scary. My eyes? Probably just a flick of delight. Don't waste my time. Did his voice actually get deeper? I'm not mistaken. I've never seen those kinds of eyes before. What were these guys talking about? They've all been too scared of me lately. You're Keiichi-Mabara-kun, right? What was Rena saying? Who else do I look like except Keiichi-Mabara? The look I gave her seemed to speak quite eloquently for those initiated thoughts. She stood and quickly apologized. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. They're like, oh no. Okay, I'll be honest. Higurashi when they cry. I'll be honest. Very interested by this direction of Keiichi going for the murder. This time, seemingly. I have a feeling he's very much underestimating how hard it will be to murder someone. It's not like they won't fight back or something. But hey, I am very interested how this will go. Let's view the new tips. Emergency. June 18, 1983. Abuse issue regarding Sato Hoju urgent. We process Sato Hoju must be taken into immediate custody based on the items below. Family situation. Life with adoptive father, who recently returned to Nizawa, was already turned disastrous, and she is currently subject to unendurable physical and mental abuse from her father. Child Consultation Center's response. Child probation officer was dispatched yesterday on the 17th from the prefecture welfare officer, but because of the 7-7 case, changed the continued coaching and cautionary action. Unfortunately, the consultation office head does not properly understand the situation. 3. Status of concerned child. Child already appears to be suffering from an outbreak of something close to neurosis of manic depression. If her unstable pubescent mind is negatively stimulated by stress, it will put her development of mental body and mind at risk. This cannot be allowed to continue from a humane standpoint. 4. Allegations made to the family court. We propose, based on the above items, that Satoko Hoji should immediately be taken into protective custody. She should be secured temporarily under emergency allegations to her family under Article 28. We request emergency coordination between all related agencies. I wonder if this is, yeah, Keiichi, if you had actually waited a few days, things would have worked out, actually. That's being said, yeah, she's enduring something terrible. She probably doesn't have a few days. D2 free number 44. Children with Special Needs, General D2 free number 44. 1997. Child name Satoko Hoju. Residence Hinuizawa Village, Shibone. Consultation circumstances. Telephone SOS from child of abuse. Abuse situation. Child claims she's being physically abused by adoptive father. Family structure. Blub marks abusers. Adoptive father, real mother, older brother, child in question. Note, adoptive father and real mother entered family registry in 19 blah blah. The child is the daughter of the mother's previous husband. Child Consultation Center response. On the day of the child telephone consultation, the child center called the child's school and asked for her situation. On that day, the child welfare officer on duty visited the child's house and conducted an interview. Adoptive father sincerely listened to the instructions and agreed to take child raising workshops in the city from now on. As part of the suggested coaching, the center will continue to observe the situation. Other notes. As a result of numerous counseling sessions at the city's educational consultation office regarding the child, we learned that there is a high possibility the cause of the child's excessive distrust towards the adoptive father was the result of lack of communication. The abuse she claimed hadn't actually taken place. She had made a false report to distance herself from her adoptive father. Below is a note written in pencil by the person on duty at that time. The problem appeared to be more with the data. Chief Investigator F of the city's Education and Consultation Office said that most of the stories of abuse were likely fabrications. They decided to shift the focus on coaching to the child. Be cautious not to take everything the child says as truth. Oof. That's probably from the first one. Yikes. Alright, I'm going to take a 5-minute break, but I have a feeling the next chapter is going to be both long and half breaking. So I'll see you here in a few minutes. Ooh, what's going on? I'll see you in a few minutes. Sorry for the long break. Let's do the last chapter for the day. Mion and the others I'm to set up for a Tatarigoroshi festival or something, invited me along, but I refused. Of course I did. How could they be taking it easy and setting up the festival in this situation? Mion had a lot of nerve. Alright, I'm voicing him now as spiteful as possible. I'm going to try to voice him with the vitriol in his voice. The first thing I did when I got back was take a shower. Not because I wanted to wash off the sweat. It was because I wanted to be even calmer. I already understood this, but killing the man would be so very easy. The really hard thing would be not getting arrested for it, so we could get our peaceful days back. As I thought about it, I realized it wasn't easy. Japan's police force had the highest arrest rate in the world. I would need to be deceit. I would need to deceitfully pull off the perfect crime. It couldn't be a half-hearted attempt. Still, it wasn't 100%. Even the best police force in the world couldn't have a 100% arrest rate. I've read a lot of articles on trials with people brought up on false charges. At court, they consider whether the charges are false or not, but figuring out the real criminal is entirely out of scope. And that meant perfect crimes did exist. What is this chime? The fact perfect crimes was sort of like works of art. They could even be respected and revered. You just had to look at the in inundation of mystery novels aired throughout history. They dealt with all sorts of difficult to solve incidents, involving secret rooms and alibis and stuff, but they all wanted to show one thing. They wanted to show the beauty of a perfect crime. There was something divine in the flawlessness of the word perfect. Yes, perfect crimes were skills of the gods. In that sense, the zero freak deaths they were calling the curse of Ushio-sama. I understood they must have been the works of gods. Each one appeared to have been resolved, but they couldn't stop it from happening every year. Yeah, skills belonging only to gods. Those are perfect crimes. And I would be setting up my own crime before the Shio-sama series of perfect crimes 4 years in a running. If I were to put it boldly, I was challenging a god. Foolhardiness would be needed to make the decision, but I needed to be calm. Cool, colder than iced, but the plan together. Kill him like a flame, but as systematic as ice. Starting now, I need to retain both of those ideas within me. Modeling my crime after a mystery novel wasn't actually a bad thing to focus on. Sometimes kidnappings involved disturbing original methods that made it into the newspaper or used as a basis for novellas after the person was arrested. Stuff like that made it into the news. Day and night for a very long time, mystery novel authors polished and refined the most fantastical artistic crimes. Imitating that could imitation no imitating that could be a shortcut to applying the perfect crime is in a short period of time. Of course, I haven't read enough mystery novels to act all high and mighty about them. The one who really liked mystery novels was my mom. She'd read every well-known mystery novel from overseas, from past and present. Every time she watched mystery novels, she would always criticize them as having cheap tricks or being poorly thought out. I wonder what the perfect crime would mean to her. What I think the most well done perfect crime in all mystery novels I've read is? Yeah, well, you read quite a lot of them, right? Figured you might know a lot about them. It's more fun to read them to find out. If I told you all the tricks right off the bat, there'd be no fun anymore. Wasn't like I was asking for my own amusement. She was deflecting the question, so I would somehow butter her up first and draw out an answer. Of course. Well done, mystery novels. Yeah. They all have the unique charm to them, so it's hard to say which is the most interesting. You really have to force me to pick one. I don't want to know which novels you liked. I want to know about the trick that made you the most surprised. It was really the perfect trick the detective wouldn't be able to solve the case, though. That was true. Then there'd be no point. Mr. Novels are enjoyable because of the process of the mysteries getting solved. If it was unsolvable, it wouldn't make a very good topic for a novel. I get it. Yeah, you're right. If the main character can solve it, it wouldn't be much of a story, huh? Was I being too simplistic? A Mr. No was basically a game. They were written so that you can get to the goal, that you could solve them. But I couldn't use something so optimistic. It need to be all the all and all of tricks so that we could without a doubt return to our old lives. By the way, Keiichi, do you understand that truly perfect crimes don't even become stories? Mom looked at me intellectually and grinned impishly. I'd never gotten to read it, but apparently one time, a long time ago, Mom had written her own mystery novel and submitted it for a mystery novel award. Apparently, she was not really into it. Wait, apparently she was really into it. Whoops. Didn't even become stories? What do you mean by that? Keiichi, what are the essential parts of a story? A beginning, a middle, and an end. Correct. The beginning, of course, is especially important. If there is no beginning, then the story never starts. Well, yeah. If nothing happened, nothing would begin. Whenever Kishi talks about stories, I have a feeling he's getting meta about, well, the novel reading. So I'm kind of paying attention for clues here. Right. Nothing happened, so there wouldn't even be an incident. Detectives wouldn't be called, so there wouldn't be any mystery. There would be no mystery, so there would be no solution. In other words, it would be the ultimate perfect crime. Wait a second. Could you explain that again? Mom just told me something absurd, and she was saying it so smoothly too, so I was kind of turned her out, but she said something extremely important just now. It's not really difficult to understand. The incident just has to never come to light, that's all. It just has to never come to light? For example, how about this? Since there's an old man living deep in the forest nobody goes into. And one day the old man gets killed by an axe. Let's say the criminal was the old man's son. He went to the old man's house and they were drinking together, but they got into a fight and he killed him. But an extremely cheap plot. It was an impulsive crime without a bit of planning. It was pretty far from a perfect crime. But Keiichi, the house was really deep in the forest. So deep in the mountains that nobody would ever go that far. And his son would go back to town and say, the old man was doing fine. Well, the perfect crime. Keiichi, this incident would only begin when it was found out that the old man was killed. If nobody ever visited the old man's house after that, the beginning would never occur. The beginning would never occur. So basically, the story wouldn't start. The incident wouldn't come to light, and they wouldn't call in detectives, and nobody would be suspicious in the first place, so there would be no mystery. They'd think the old man was living by himself deep in the forest, and the old man's face would appear in the sky, and that would be it. Something like that, you know? That's amazing. It's a pretty great trick. But it wouldn't be a novel. Mr. Novels are for entertainment, after all. They can be instruction manuals for perfect crimes. I was trying hard to talk cheerfully to fool her, but inside I was excited. Special tools, strange geography, mysterious drugs, traps involving huge sums of cash. None of them were needed for perfect crimes. The important thing was that there wasn't a beginning. As long as the incident didn't come to light, it would be fine. Speaking broadly, if I could kill him without anyone finding out, and dispose of the corpse someone no one could find, it would basically already be a perfect crime. Of course, if somebody up and vanished one day all of a sudden, people would get suspicious. But that didn't apply to this man. Last year, after the aunt died, he ran away from the village of fear of Oshio-sama. When the night of Watanagashi came around again, everyone would have to think that he ran away again in fear. I mean, he had been living with a lover of his in town. No matter what it felt like, when he vanished, no one would be suspicious. People hated him after all. No one would care where he went if he disappeared. When I thought about it like that, it got easier and easier to imagine killing him. There was no point in thinking inside my house anymore. I left, getting my bike out of the garage. For now, it didn't matter where I was going. I just rode through the wind, trying to calm my excitement by feeling the cool air on my body. Where I'd kill him, how I'd do it, what time, and how to dispose of the corpse. If I just had those four things, I could get a good plan going. I was so surprised at how little there was to decide that I shivered. I'd be completely prepared to build this humongous plan over a really long period of time. But if I could just get these little things in order, I could put it into motion. Today was Saturday. Would I have to kill him on the night of Watanagashi? So as long as I was standing in for Shiosama, only had 24 hours remaining. Sadako, just hang on for 24 hours more. I can't even imagine having to suffer through even more, but please hold out for a little longer. I know you can't even last another second, I know that. But please just hold on. Your Nini will save you for sure. Alright, but have you considered that on the night of the festival, um, her uncle might not let Satoko go to the festival? So you're going to have to murder him while she is at home. Or the uncle might have guests over from the town. Or the uncle might legitimately run away to town during Watanagashi. Or, it's still not everyone going to the Watanagashi. You're still going to have to transport a dead body there. There's going to be a lot of police everywhere. Early afternoon. Evening was still a long way off. I looked at the sky. At some point, it has gotten cloudy. Come to think of it, as I left my house, I heard on the TV that the weather forecast was calling for a chance of rain on Sunday. The sky was the color of lead. If I had a little bit of thunder, I'd definitely have expected a sudden evening shower. My first destination was school. Before explaining why I was going there, I need to explain what methods for killing the man I had decided upon. I decided the most suitable death, the one I need to give him, was the same as last year's curse. The same as the punishment the aunt had received, being beaten to death. Wouldn't beating him to death be somewhat unreliable? You may be thinking that stabbing him with a blade would be more reliable. But this was something I'd chosen after a lot of thought. Just need to think realistically. The law, it prohibited carrying any blades longer than 10 centimeters, I think. So the blades available to me would be, even the longest, was still limited to shorter than a ruler. You can probably understand how tricky it would be with such a short reach to go up against an opponent that might fight back. In that case, a weapon with more reach, like a staff, would be far more advantageous. It might not be quite as inherently lethal, but since you could just keep hitting the guy until you killed him, the end result was the same. So, what's a staff-like deadly weapon? Terrifyingly powerful and also immensely portable. By this point, you should immediately think of a metal baseball bat. I don't need to explain how terrifying a metal baseball bat can be as a weapon. Of special note is the fact that you can carry one around in broad daylight and not be thought of as suspicious. Just those 2 points would have been enough to choose a metal bat for my weapon. There was one more reason for choosing a metal bat in particular. I will speak about it later. Because it was Satoshi's. After school that Saturday, my classmates were still having fun playing in the schoolyard. I could show up there and still be the same as always, so nobody would think I'm suspicious. Getting my hands on the weapon without looking suspicious was actually a factor I couldn't ignore. I didn't normally play baseball, so if I went to a sports store looking for a metal bat, I would definitely be suspicious. I can't let there be a beginning to the story, so I need to be really careful even about that. That left school. At a location at which my appearance wouldn't be suspicious, I would acquire the weapon. I checked inside the classroom through the window, but of course there was nobody there. The only students who would stay in there were me and the others when doing club activities. Without us, the classroom after school was just an empty, unused room. Without glancing around nervously, Without glancing around nervously as if I had gone to get something I'd forgotten, I casually went to the entrance. It looked like the teacher was busy with paperwork in the teacher's lounge. I didn't see her in the hallway. Naturally, yet quickly as a shadow, I entered the classroom. The empty room was full of strange, stagnant air that you couldn't feel normally. An empty classroom with nobody here. Maybe while no one was around, the desks creep around on their own accord, licking the floors, clearing of dirt. If I suddenly stepped onto a place like that, would the desks in surprise fly at me, crushing my bones and eat me alive? That's ridiculous. I felt regret at wasting valuable thinking time on stupid delusions. The students' lockers were lined up in the back of the classroom. The one I was looking for wasn't my own. It was a forbidden locker. One I had accidentally discovered one day. Here it is. Hojo. This has to be it. If one person has one locker, then why would only Satoko have two? I'd made a fuss about it once. After that, I learned it was Satoshi's locker, and he had the same last name as her. But of course, even though it was a locker for a student no longer here, looking inside it was a shameless act. But one time, I let my curiosity get the better of me and took a peek inside. Inside, it was average and worthless. Uh, at the time, I hadn't been interested, so until now, I'd forgotten what had been in it. But now that I say it, awakened, I remembered that thing that had been there. Scrape. Opened the locker and the stench of mold and sweat wafted out like a gym storehouse that hadn't been cleaned in weeks. My face puckered up to the stench, but I looked into it. Yes, Satoshi was on coach's baseball team. The bells again. Inside the locker was a Hinamizawa fighter's uniform and the one Satoshi used, the metal bat. Yes, there was a reason I wanted to choose this bat. This murder would be carried out by me. But, whoops. But this wasn't originally my role, it was Satoshi's. But I would stand in for him and call myself Satoko's Nini. It was one of the rules for standing in for him. I refused. I reached for the metal bat and I grasped it firmly. It was light, and yet its tip had felt heft in it, enough to easily imagine the horror if I brought it down with all my might. Satoshi, I'll give you one last chance to save your sister. Lend me your strength. You're a coward, but I will stand in for you. So if you still care even a little bit about her, you will lend me your strength. There is no more suitable weapon in the world putting that man to death than your bat. Or someone is definitely seeing him do this. Now I just need to figure out where to hide it. Tomorrow, before I act, I would just step by the school and grab it. Because I couldn't ignore the possibility someone would see me bring it home and think it was strange. But if I left it here, there wouldn't be a problem. Plus, tomorrow was Sunday. Not only that, it was the day of the biggest festival in the whole village. Nobody would be coming to school. I left out the entrance and went out to a construction vehicle parked nearby. We'd been warned by our teachers not to touch it just for laughs, so none of the kids would come near the vehicle either. They wouldn't, they wouldn't because if she found out they touched it, they'd be in huge trouble. I quietly hid it in the shadow of that vehicle. The chances of someone operating the vehicle tomorrow were slim to none. Because tomorrow was Sunday, government workers had the day off. And from what my classmates had said, the thing had been left here for years now. Machines that haven't been moved in years, you can't just suddenly start them up again. So I was almost definitely fine in this case. The sun was piercingly hot, my head grew faint for a moment. Had the heat been this harsh for the entire day, a moment of dull thought like that was a moment of carelessness. I had given myself a couple of hits in the head, then looked around warily. Okay, next how to dispose of the corpse. Higurashi when they cry. Disposing of the corpse. The ultimate way to not create a beginning was to not let the corpse be found. It was even more important than killing him. Thinking of it vaguely, the first thing that came to mind was the swamp. Onigafuchi, the dreaded bottomless swamp, revered even now that appeared in the legends of Onigafuchi village. Yes, the swamp called Onigafuchi was here first, and then the village took its name to make Onigafuchi village. In other words, the swamp was the origin of Onigafuchi village. No one, no matter who it was, would float back to the surface of this bottomless swamp. Everyone would be swallowed down to the land of the demons below the earth. That was how the stories went. If I was trying to copy Onishiyama's curse, then I felt the theory demanded I discard the remains and the weapons into the swamp. But they had said it's bottomless, but I don't actually know. And the people say large creatures like humans produce a lot of gas when they rot, granting a lot of buoyancy. It was why using very heavy objects to hold people down didn't work. Come to think of it, with the curse the year before last, Rikatan's mother drowned herself in this swamp. And the criminals behind the dismemberment that went missing the year of the final curse too, it was rumored that he tried to discard the body in the swamp and accidentally drowned in it. I never heard of the corpse coming back up of them or them finding it. Then shouldn't I choose to discard the corpse there too? I could discard the weapon there. And then, for example, if her uncle came out on a motorcycle and attacked it, wouldn't wouldn't be convenient to get rid of the bike too. I knew that Satoko's uncle genuinely used a motorcycle for transportation. But as for the corpse, after a lot of worrying, I decided not to discard the corpse in the swamp. The drowning, suicide, and accident were both rumors. Nobody knew if they'd actually happened. There were no lack of false rumors about drowning suicides anyway. It was possible the murderer hadn't drowned there and was still on the run. That meant no one had ever confirmed a corpse being dropped in there and then not coming back up. Then what would I do with the body? I thought it might be interesting to go with the first incident, cut him to pieces and hide him. The preparations and work for dismembering a human body were difficult given the amount of time I had. Also very fucked up, and you're really considering it without even missing a beat. With that out of the question, I arrived at the conclusion to go the more orthodox method of burying the body. Then where I would bury it was a question related to where I would kill him. Of course, I wanted to keep my time in proximity to the body at a minimum. With that in mind, I would want to dig the hole to dump the body in beforehand, to make the location of the act and the hole close together. The choice of where to plan the crime that I need to be absolutely careful and thorough with. It had to be somewhere nobody would witness it, a place where hiding place and a place within hiding places for a sneak attack. I could dig a hole for a body right there. I go over the possibilities in my head of the various destinations the uncle would head to from Sadako's house. I imagined a map of an area in my head, and I found a place that fulfilled those conditions so easily it was almost unbelievable. A bit, a bit of a back, a bit of a back road that went through the woods. I didn't think her uncle would go deep into the mountains of Yagochi on a whim. If he was going somewhere, he'd pass through the woods first. And nobody used this way back unless they had something to do at Satoko's house or one or two other places. This path was fantastically ideal, as few people used it. I would wait for him in those woods. Would an ambush actually be possible? I went into the trees and tried really hiding myself in a few places. It was extremely quiet. My senses could be sharpened here to the maximum amount. I don't know when he'd come, but I'd wait right here for Soko's uncle. I actually had some trouble coming to that decision. The question arose of whether I should somehow call the man out. Was there a risk I'd be taking by luring him out? The man made Satoko do all the shopping and errands. He seldomly left on his own business. He wouldn't leave unless I worked out a plan to force him to, would he? That was the question. Tomorrow was Watangarashi's festival. Would we go out for the festival or would he stay inside? If he stayed inside, how would I drag him out of his house? That's right. Wouldn't he make Satoko go to the festival? Satoko would go to the festival. Meanwhile, I would call the man. This is the Okonomiya police station. Have the young lady from your house. Will you come and pick her up immediately? It didn't even have to be the police. This is the clinic. The young lady from your house has been injured. Please come and pick her up. Yes, that would work too. If I claimed to be the police or the hospital, told him to come and then hung up on him, he'd rush there trying to figure out what was going on, wouldn't he? And just the other day, he was visited by a probation officer. He wouldn't suddenly grumble about having to get his niece and not go. It would look like a child neglect. The man had no skills useful around the house. Satoko, his slave, was a central part of his daily life. Conclusion: if he went out to the festival, I would attack him on his way there or back. If he didn't, I would lure him out by phone. Luring him out by phone was my first step. I need to be sure Satoko would go to the festival leaving the house. It would be convenient if I could make Mion take Satoko to the festival. She said her aunt was a district welfare officer. In other words, an ally to the probation officer. If I somehow incited Mion to take Satoko to the festival with her, whoops. Well, being who she was, she'd use the fact and get her there. Satoko should just take a break and have fun at the festival with everyone. She should have a good time, reminisce on our former peaceful days, and when she went home, everything would be over. Yeah, that would be the best outcome. With that decided, I need to dig a hole somewhere in the woods to hide the body. So it wouldn't stand out, so it wouldn't be found. Some place nobody would see me while I was completely exposed as a buried corpse. I had wanted to be I had wanted it to be close to the scene of the crime, but I naturally grew further away. One moment. Sorry about that. Coffee. I got my coffee. Thanks, Mom. Deep in the bosom of the Black Forest, the voices of the Higurashi were the one only sounds here, informing me that people shouldn't indiscreetly set foot in this place. Digging a hole, huh? Digging a hole with so many tree roots crawling around the ground would be far more difficult than I envisioned. Snuck a gardening spade out of my bag, but that wouldn't be enough. Still, as I looked into various approaches, I managed to find a place I could dig into. Tomorrow, I'd bring a real shovel from the storeroom at home. I managed with that. I wondered how big of a hole would I have to fit a human all the way in. I'd probably have to dig pretty deep down. But if I was slipshod in these efforts, I'd let a beginning occur. I absolutely couldn't allow that. Use any amount of time you need to. I mustn't spare any effort to utterly erase him. I glanced at my wristwatch. It was a little past 6. That was probably all I was going to get done here for today. I really wanted to dig the hole in advance tonight, even if it got dark out, but Mom would be upset if I stayed out that late. It would be good to come off as suspicious to my parents. I need to go back home, give Mion a call soon. I need to get her to promise Satoko to take her by tonight. After that, today would be done. Done. Would it be though? Was it really everything I could do to prepare right now? I decide where to kill him. Decide how to kill him. I decide, of course, how to dispose of the body. I didn't decide on a time, but I would play that by ear. I didn't have a way to decide that. Was that really all? Was it really all right? Well, looked something. How about transportation of the body? Would this really go how I planned? After all this, worry started welling up one after another. It was only natural I'd be anxious. This would be the first and last big job of my lifetime. I could not allow failure, and I had no experience as this was my first time. It didn't have to be know-how, the knack. It was only natural I'd be anxious. Dark clouds of unease told me doing nothing would be the easiest way. A truly pathetic suggestion this late in the game. Have you forgotten how miserable Satoko looked? From the outside, it may have looked like I was resolute, but deep in my heart, my knees were shaking loudly. I've never actually won a single fight to my satisfaction. Could I really kill someone? I may have been planning an ambush, but the enemy was large and far older than me. He had a scary face and he looked like he was well accustomed to fighting. Could I have all the pieces before and after the murder were perfectly planned, but was the actual murder the most important part? What settled me the most? All my preparations, all my perfectly concealed machinations. If it didn't successfully murder him, they amounted to nothing. Damn it. After coming this way, you're pathetic, Keiichi. If you start to have these kinds of second thoughts, your ulterior motive will become obvious. Let's go home and calm yourself. Tomorrow will be a juncture in your life, the likes of which graduation, employment, marriage, and childbirth couldn't hold a candle to. A day of murder. To kill someone for someone else's sake. With the day behind us, we would take it back again. Those mild spring-like days we never thought would stop. The safe, peaceful, fun times. I, I pedaled my bicycle hard to get back home. I felt somehow unsteady. My body and soul weren't in alignment. A subtle shift between where the tips of my hands and feet were and where I felt them to be. My vision was a little distant and narrow, as if the great barrier I risked my future life on had nothing to do with me. An unreal sensation. How could I put it? Everything was so far away. Fine. Feel your unease permeate you, Keiichi. If that will turn your timidity into maliciousness and allow you to act with greater caution, then it's actually an important emotion to feel. This feeling is I had never went away that night. was the first time I'd been calling Mion's house. I searched for her in the phone book, and the school gave me, then dialed a short phone number, the kind of unique to remote places. It was around dinner time. Probably be home. But just as I started to think nobody would respond, somebody finally picked up the receiver. Hello, this is Sonozaki. Oh, I'm sorry for calling so late at night. Is this Mion? Somehow it sounds like they're both on the telephone, like... Huh? May I ask who's calling? It's me, Keiichi. Oh, Kei-chan. It's pretty late. What's up? She seemed to be in a weirdly good mood, and she drew her syllables out. Right, it's the night before the festival, so she's probably with her family having some drinks. Sorry for the late call. Do you have time right now? Sure, what is it? It's about Sadako. Heard her drawing a small breath at the other end. Sadako, she's a pretty bad spot. Hope she's okay. The scent of sake had completely disappeared from her voice. She can be okay. You saw too, didn't you? What she was like? She was completely worn out from all that abuse. We failed her all this time, and she's become like that. We didn't fail her. Everyone tried the hardest to help her. We didn't come up with anything, and we couldn't save her. In the end, we couldn't do anything about it, and now she's become like that. I guess you're right. All I did was watch after all. So, well, couldn't we at least let her have fun for one night? Huh? Let her have fun? She's so battered lately, you understand. That's why. I want you to take her to the Watangashi Festival tomorrow. I don't mind. But why? Why? Want to give her a briefer at least for a festival night, you know? Even if it's just one night, if she can get away from the evil uncle, then I think she'll be happy. If it's only for a little while. Yes, but why? Why? What why? Why is he talking like he isn't coming too? I was having a little difficulty understanding what Mion was asking me. Why? Well... I mean, why didn't you bring her to Kei-chan? Why don't you bring her to Kei-chan? Why do you need to ask me to do it? Mion was persistent about odd things. No, maybe it's better to say that she was sharp. I will actually have something to do tomorrow. I can't make it to the festival. So I wanted you to take Sadako there for me. Something to do? It's nothing major. Probably finish it quickly. But I might be able to meet up with you all tomorrow. Hey, Mion, could I leave Sadako for you just for tonight? Tomorrow night? Mion took a long time to give her reply. I got a feeling that Mion had been acting weird for a while now. Like she was flustered by emotions or something. Oh, she knew. No. Dick. Huh? Was that a sob? Mion? Are you crying? I said no, I don't want to. I don't want you to push this onto someone like me. I'm not trying to push anything onto you. Just for tomorrow night. That was a lie. What? Mion? What was she talking about? Saying it's just for the night of Tatarigoroshi. Then it was forever. Liar. Hick. Ahahaha. But I guess we're even, huh? I couldn't help keep the promise I made with you. I left her alone all this time. I had no idea what to say to that. Oh, Satoshi said the same thing, huh? Mion was clearly now talking to someone other than me. I don't know who. All I could do was listen to her in a daze. You never came back after that, and now you call me again to push on to me. You're so unfair. Like, hey, you're Satoshi-kun, aren't you? Mion, what are you talking about? When I said her name, whatever spell was on Mion was released. Ah, I'm sorry. It's nothing. Just that I got the phone call a lot like the one you're making a long time ago. Was it from Satoshi? Mion didn't answer. All I could hear was sobs coming from the receiver. Sorry. I think I'm still a little tipsy. I got all weirdly emotional. Hehehe. Sorry I probably scared you. I had no idea how it happened. It was pretty sure the last year on this very day, Toshi had called me on and told her to bring Satoko to the festival. And when she asked why he needed to do it, he replied the same way I did just now. Toshi didn't go to the festival, did he? Yeah. He said he had something to do and couldn't make it. and he told me to take Satoko in his place. At the time, Satoshi said it too, didn't he? That he'd leave Satoko to you. Yeah, he did. Just for tomorrow night. The way you said it was just like how he did. I just got a little upset, caught up in a memory and all. Didn't expect this. Satoshi had given her the exact same phone call 1 year ago. After that, Mion had said more. That he was lying. That he told her it would only be for the night of the festival. I get it. A few days ago, Satoshi, he disappeared. A few days later, he disappeared. Disappeared might have been a rather vague way to put it. Whether he ran away or not, Satoshi left, abandoning Satoko. Yes. He didn't transfer or run away from home, he disappeared. And then an idea far more indistinct than ever crossed my mind. Satoshi made the exact same phone call as me last year. Why would Satoshi make the exact same call? If, in the truest sense, he had truly made the exact same phone calls as I am right now, then an incident where the aunt was beaten to death. Could it... Was Satoshi? Huh? What was that? Last year, Tsunako had been constantly abused by her uncle's wife, their aunt too. Her aunt abused her the most. And on that night, the name of the Oshio-sama's curse, she was taken from the world. If I thought about that, everything made perfect sense, didn't it? Last year, Satoko's aunt was beaten to death, wasn't she? Would it be impossible for Satoshi to have? No. You're making it very obvious what your plans are here, bro. No, but that would mean Satoshi was a coward who abandoned Satoko and ran away, wasn't he? How could Satoshi resolve himself to kill a person to save Satoko? It was unthinkable. I actually considered that as well. Though it'd be mean to Satoshi. A few days later, he disappeared. On Satoko's birthday. When I first heard it, I flew into a rage. What a cruel day to run away. But now that I thought about it like this, the story changed completely. Satoshi had probably been even less calm than I was now. He was the big brother related by blood, watching his little sister be abused day in and day out. Maybe that's why he couldn't keep calm. And that's why the corpse of the aunt beaten to death was so easily discovered. Satoshi lost himself in his anger and hadn't hidden the corpse. He permitted the beginning to occur. If the police conducted a full-blown investigation, it was easy to imagine they wouldn't take long to pin down Satoshi as the culprit. Satoshi, he wished for a return to peaceful days with Satoko and thought he achieved it for a time. He had been steadily driven into a corner, and then he wanted to at least hold out until Satoko's birthday, but finally they nailed him. At the time, Satoshi had been carrying the savings he'd amassed to buy Satoko a gift stuffed animal for a birthday present. He would buy the stuffed animal as her gift and then get caught. Or he could use the money and disappear. That was a choice he had been forced to make. He decided to not make Satoko the sister of a murderer. And that was the case. If that was the case, it must have been an unspeakably bitter decision. All the money he'd saved wanting to see Satoko happy, he had to use it to make her sad. He used the savings and disappeared to Tokyo if the rumors were true. Was that how Satoshi disappeared? I don't know. That Oishi guy seemed to think that way though. Oishi had been slowly driven into a corner by the repulsive man's pig-headed pursuit. The circumstantial evidence is all there, but I think your deduction is wrong. He caught some lowlife somewhere in the prefecture. He apparently turned himself in for the crime. That was right. The deviant had confessed and the incident was resolved. They said he really was just a crazy person. He had no ties to Hinamizawa. No relationship with Satoshi, of course. I mean, he had a pretty hard time believing the guy would lie in Satoshi's place. You couldn't just arbitrarily decide like that. You never know where or how humans are tied together. If that guy took the blame, then it was the perfect crime. Of course, if it was really a perfect crime, there would be no reason for Satoshi to vanish. Plus, I don't think Satoshi had the kind of money to run away. The day he withdrew all his savings, no matter who I tell this to, nobody believes me, but the stuffed animal he said he was buying for Satoko, it's gone from the display, sold. It must have been Satoshi. Wait a minute. If he didn't use the money to flee and brought the stuffed animal instead, he would have gone back to Satoko, wouldn't he? It seems unbelievable he'd buy it and then disappear without having given it to her. Yeah. So now I don't know what happened. It would be one thing if he had the money, but if he used all his savings on it, he'd be totally broke. You can't live a life on the run without money in this world. I didn't get it. After all that, I was understanding Satoshi less and less. The two of us fell silent. I couldn't remember how we even got to this topic. Hahaha, sorry. I think we got off topic. Satoko, right? Don't worry. I actually already invited her. Huh? Seriously? When everyone went to the shrine to prepare for the festival, we started talking about getting Satoko to the festival itself. Then I used the phone at the assembly hall to invite her. Umineko was acting distant and didn't seem to care at all, but in any case, we got the okay from him. We decided to all meet up and go together tomorrow. You okay with that? Satoshi? Stop it, I'm not Satoshi. Was a little relieved. I hadn't needed to make the phone call. Satoko had already been invited to the festival. And now, in a way that smelled of blood, a way to leave her uncle alone to create time for me to kill him. They purely wanted Satoko to enjoy herself, so they invited her. In the end, it was the same, but I was happy with a slight difference. Sorry, I guess I didn't need to call then. First yesterday, now today. Sorry for saying such weird things. Just forget about it. No, I'm the one who should apologize. Losing it like that isn't like me. I'm really sorry. We apologized to each other for a little bit. Alright, I'll be going now. Good night. What did you have to do? As interrupting our parting words, Mion struck straight where it hurt. Or is it like with Satoshi, where you can't say? Being called the fuck out. Stupid. I keep telling you, I'm not Satoshi. Yeah, I know that. I reflected her with a response that wasn't really an answer. Mion didn't harm me anymore after that. Alright, this time for real. Good night. I don't know why you're giving me the same phone call Satoshi-kun did, but... yeah, never mind. I'm sorry. Good night. I'm hanging up. Click. Satoshi Hojo. Just who are you? I scorned you as a coward who ran away abandoning his little sister. I always thought you didn't have the right to call yourself a Nini. But now I don't know what to think. Ushio-sama's curse on the 4th year. Their aunt's death and Satoshi's disappearance. And now me trying to carry out Ushio-sama's curse on the 5th. Oddly enough, what I was going to do overlapped perfectly with Satoshi the day before the curse. No, that wasn't all. If we start backwards from Satoko being abused, then I'd been overlapping with Satoshi for days already. When I talked to Mion before, she asked me if I was Satoshi. If that was the first impression a third party like Mion got, then it was probably true. Then as Satoshi had accomplished, I would succeed in the murder. But that was the extent to which we overlapped. I was far calmer than Satoshi and far more calculating. But actually grow calmer the more enthusiastic I became. That's why I couldn't follow in Satoshi's footsteps. I wouldn't follow. I would snip him cleanly out the world and then get our peaceful life back. Maybe Satoshi has been with me ever since I chose to use Satoshi's bat as my weapon. No, maybe even longer than that. When I decided to be his Nini, maybe Satoshi had been residing within me too. Satoshi, were you really a coward? Or are you a true Nini even now, the kind worthy of Satoko's love? I've never met him, never spoke to him, Didn't even know his face, and yet felt so connected to him. I'd never felt that way before. Higurashi when we cry. When they cry. Alright. That's going to be it for today after the tips. But with this big scene, I feel like I need to theorize for a bit. He is not going to succeed. Well, he might succeed. But he's not going to be able to keep it hidden. Here's my simple thoughts. First, he's telegraphing it to too many people. Second, even if he isn't noticing the other people noticing him, he is most certainly being noticed. Third, there is no way in hell the police first aren't swarming the village at the time. We already know there's plainclothes detectives around from the previous episodes. Second, no way in hell Oishi doesn't suspect, or at least the police in general, that Satoko's uncle would not be the next target. So there is definitely someone going to be stationed around there. And then there's all the other ways this could go wrong. Satoko could just happen to not be able to go to the festival. Satoko could just happen to get back home earlier. The uncle could just happen to have guests over. The main character, well, it could be a scuffle, there could be noises, there could be damage. There's no way the uncle's not going to fight back. There's going to be bleeding around the house, probably. Even if you use a bat, blood's still going to spray. There's just a lot that could go wrong here. There is no way he's noticed. So my guess is tomorrow he goes for it. Either he fails, or he finds somebody already did the deed before him. Possibly Satoko herself. And then the day after that, he either runs away because he succeeded and he doesn't want the police to catch him, maybe? That's a bit uncertain. Or as the only, what's it called? Or he takes the fall for Satoko. Let's see the new tips. For the attention of those on the housewife slaughter incident case. Oh, I just thought something fucked up. Again, still not clear how the housewife got killed by someone else and it was okay, so to say. How they caught someone else? Well, it's just a confession, I guess. The fucked up thing I just thought of was, what if Satoko killed the aunt? And disappeared her brother herself? Either for not cooperating, or for possibly being, well, a bad brother after all. Well, he was around for a few days after that. Guess that doesn't quite make sense. July 1982. Konomiya Police Station, 1st Investigation Division. Chief Takasugi. Prefecture Police Headquarters for the Eradication of Drug-Related Crime. Shibone Branch Head. Regarding incident designated as undercover investigation. This message is to inform you that the section of the testimony records of an incident under the police headquarters jurisdiction has been found. This is thought to be related to undercover investigation of the incident in question, Okonomiya Police Station X, Nizawa Village housewife slaughter incident. During investigation of the suspect who was arrested for possessing illegal drugs, there was testimony alluding to the crime in question. It became clear that it contained information that only the perpetrator could have known. Therefore, we are preparing to share the record of testimony with you, duplicate attached. If this testimony is to be believed, then there is an extremely high chance that the suspect, blah blah, was the perpetrator in the incident in question. In addition, on receiving the testimony, the head investigator of the case inquired as to the incident with the Okonomiya police station. The responsible party of Okonomiya police station misunderstood. In compliance with the designation as an undercover investigation by executive order from Prefecture Police Headquarters on July 1st, they did not explain the incident's existence to the other investigator as they should have. Because of this, the head investigator did not realize the importance of this testimony as it is related to the case in question. As a result, was negligent about combing the scene. We apologize for having effectively ignored it until now. In addition, there is a postscript starting the suspect, blah blah, died while in confinement yesterday on XXX. I'm not sure I quite understood this. Was it that information from his testimony actually pointed to another person? Interesting. Well, I'm gonna call it here. Next time, I think I'm actually going to take Tuesday to finish Tatarigoroshi. I think there's only 2 chapters left, 2 or 3. So I should be able to do it then. Then I'm going to take Thursday, probably Saturday, maybe even Sunday to finish Deltarune. Because I really want to finish that. It's kind of taking away streams from Higurashi, but at the finishing of Tatarigoroshi seems like the perfect time for that. Well, at least until Deltarune's done, so I can stop focusing on that. So for now, that is all. Next time, yeah, finish Tatarigoroshi. I'm very much looking forward to it. This is quite interesting and very heartbreaking. See you all next time.